Okay. Hi, everybody. This is my BloodBorne No Hit All Bosses DLC 1 and DLC 2 commentary for the No Hit run. I did a No Hit run commentary for AGDQ in an AGDQ submission. Didn't get accepted. For Dark Souls 3 All Bosses plus DLC 1 and 2. Did I say DLC 1 and 2 for BloodBorne? I only meant plus DLC. But basically, people asked me if I was going to do one for BloodBorne. I said I would. So we're going to do it. This isn't for submission or anything. So I'm just going to be explaining the run as I go. Basically. Yeah, right off the bat, I'll say that BloodBorne is a more consistent no-hit run than Dark Souls 3. And Dark Souls 2 probably as well. It also has, I believe, a higher skill cap, different mechanics, and personally I believe is more fun. So before people ask, my favorite Soulsborne game is BloodBorne, and I really like this run. While the DS3 run was done approximately over a year or so, with all the DLCs being released and stuff, the BloodBorne run I think took me about a month and a half to do, well, maybe a month, I think, maybe. Yeah, to do the any percent, the all bosses, and the DLC. Apparently, I'm taking my time here in this video. Alright, yeah. Okay. Anyway. So we start off here, and you'll notice right away, there's a wolf. So this wolf's supposed to kill you because you don't have a weapon. Obviously, because this is a no-hit run, you don't want that. So you bait an attack, you sprint around it. You do a heavy R2 behind him. You can hit his ankle, you can hit his butt, and that will allow you to visceral. And since viscerals in this game are based off of skill and not weapon damage, so the stat skill, you can kill him in one go. Pretty much, I believe, regardless of whatever class you are. Yeah. And it's interesting because, as opposed to Dark Souls 3, in BloodBorne you don't start off with a weapon, you start off with nothing. You're supposed to die so you get teleported to the Hunter's Dream. And that's where you pick up your saw cleaver or whatever you pick and your gun. But since we don't die right off the bat, I just keep going. Alternatively, other runners here will use this lamp, and they'll teleport back to the Hunter's Dream. And then from there, they'll pick up their weapon, and they'll teleport back. But the reason I don't do that is because it adds, like, 20 seconds of loading time. You have to wait through 2 loading screens, and, like, a cutscene, a skippable one. But at the beginning of a run, when you're resetting a lot, I personally don't like to do that very much. So I opt to skip the Hunter's Dream, getting the saw cleaver, and instead of getting it early, I just get it later. Yeah, I get it later, and people always ask, why do I use the saw spear, which I pick up soon here, and that's the entire reason. I don't want to go back to the Hunter's Dream, just because it adds tedium, and during no-hit runs, it's very, 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 very important to manage your mentality. Another thing you'll notice here is I'm picking up bloodstone shards. So, you don't actually need to pick up bloodstone shards. You can actually buy them later with insight, but I figure since they're pretty much on the way, like, you have to, I don't know, maybe take an extra 20 seconds or so for them. It's not really a big deal, and I've never really liked spending insight. I've never really liked spending anything in games. No consumables at all. So it just feels better for me to do that. That's why I pick them up. Also, we have also picked up some blood vials. We've picked up some Molotovs earlier. I believe we have a total of 10 right now. And we picked up those bold hunter's marks from Eileen. So this is where I get the saw spear. You saw I karate chopped that chain, knocked the corpse down. The rats won't hit you if you run to that exact spot. They will never hit you unless they do some weird stuff. But right there I picked up the saw spear. And that's our weapon. We're going to use that for Papa G. We pretty much need a weapon for Papa G. yeah. Otherwise, it would just be even more tedious. So you might as well have gotten the saw cleaver if you weren't gonna get the saw spear. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I put on the saw spear here. Yeah, the saw spear. You're gonna visceral attack this guy. You can actually do 2 R2s and it'll kill him the same as a visceral attack. But the saw spear in itself, as a weapon, has pretty much the same animations as the saw cleaver. The only difference between the saw spear and the saw cleaver, there's a very few differences. The first difference is the stats that are required, and the stats that it scales with. So the saw cleaver will scale with skill, heavier than strength, while the saw cleaver will scale with strength, heavier than skill. And the saw spear and the saw cleaver have the same 2 R1 animations, and then in trick form they have different movesets. So the saw cleaver has a few vertical movesets, while the saw spear, the saw cleaver has horizontal movesets. Well, I believe the saw spear has vertical movesets and stabbing movesets with the R2. Okay, right here I equipped the Molotovs, and I got the music box earlier. I forgot to talk about that. But I equipped the Molotovs here, and I throw them at these guys. There are a few instances in which those guys actually are positioned so you can run past them. That wasn't one of them. And each 3 of those guys has a quick attack. And since in BloodBorne, while you're sprinting, you can't dodge. If you're sprinting and you try to dodge, you will actually jump. And you don't get iframes for jump. Sprinting past those guys is not safe. So you either have to walk and then react really, really, really fast to dodge past their quick attack. Potentially getting multiple quick attacks at a time, or you can do a completely safe method of just throwing Molotovs at them. And if you do so, it's guaranteed. You can get more Molotovs later, so it's not a big deal. Might as well do the safe method. Okay. So I did pick up the music box earlier, and I'll explain that before we get into the Gascoigne fight. The music box, what it does is, it's from Gascoigne's daughter. And I believe in lore, it's what his wife used to calm him down or something like that. Because Gascoigne is, is a beast, and you go into the lore and hunters, beasts. We don't got time to explain it. But anyway, you can use it 3 times in the first phase of the Gascoigne fight to stun him. After that, it won't. After that, it'll transform him. It'll quick push him into the second phase, and then you can use it once in the second phase. So here's the strategy that I came up with for this fight. Basically, I use this as an obstruction, the center thing, and I bait out an attack. After baiting out an attack, I will play the music box, and then I will aim him so that he walks away from me with his back, where his back will be open, basically. And then from there, you can do a charged R2. You can hit his ankle too. A charged R2, a visceral attack. And you can do that, I think, a total of 3 times in the first phase. And then as he transforms, you can do it once more. And then you can play the music box once in his second form, get in 7 hits, do another charged R2, a visceral attack, and then finish him off with another charged R2. So he's transforming here, right? And he should be dead with your starting stats. The blood level 4, yeah. So music box here, you can get 7 hits in, and then a visceral, a charge R2, a visceral, and I believe another charge R2, and he should be dead. Yeah, that's a perfect Gascoigne fight. So with that, there should be very little opportunity for you to get a hit. It's a pure execution fight. Aside from the first phase, there's a few glitchy things you can do in the first phase, but mostly, if you execute right, you'll get that every time. I pick up the red jewel brooch here, brooch, and I use it. And what that does is that gives you a blood gem. It's a circular blood gem. I believe it gives you plus 2.7 attack or something. Something small. But we put it on before shadows. It's actually pretty important. You want all the damage you can get before shadows. Whew. Jeez, I forgot what it's like to do commentary, man. There's so much I want to talk about right now, but the game's progressing at a certain rate and there's so much to talk about, so I'm trying to get it all in. But yeah, anyway, Gascoigne is my favorite boss, I think, of all the Souls games as a starter boss. So in Dark Souls 1 you got Stray Demon, Dark Souls 2 you got... I don't even remember what you have. What do you have in Dark Souls 2? Something, I don't know. In Dark Souls 3 you have Vort. In Bloodborne you have Gascoigne, and Gascoigne is a really cool boss. It's very well voice acted, and it's fun, man. It's hard, though. It's hard. I think new players have a really tough time on Gascoigne, especially. I think the bosses after Gascoigne are a little bit easier than Gascoigne himself. Just in, you know, his moveset, he has 2 phases. He's quick. He's a hunter. Okay. So next is Bloodstarved Beast, and you'll notice the splits on the side there over there. They don't include Gascoigne or Bloodstarved Beast, or even Vicar Amelia for that matter. The first split is Shadows, and I actually have oversplit there because I'm not taking care of my splits. The reason we do that is because everything before Shadows, Shadows was a major reset point in this run. Shadows of Yharnam was a very inconsistent boss when we were doing this run. Shadows is a major reset point, so instead of resetting the first 2 splits, 3 splits over and over again, we just made Shadows the first split, and that was it. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm trying to do a quick method to not aggro this dog. I failed it though. I failed it. There's like a 1 second window in which you can sprint and this dog won't aggro you. It's also important to note that dogs in Bloodborne are much safer than dogs in Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. In most cases, you can basically just space their attacks and you'll be fine. Yeah. Rather than them just leaping across the screen or teleporting or whatever. So what I'm doing here is I'm waiting for barks, or I'm waiting for an attack and a double attack, basically. A jump attack and another attack. That's when you get cooldowns for the dogs. Okay, run up here, dodge this guy. Go through here. And we're gonna meet up with Alfred. And the reason you talk to Alfred, the reason you meet up with Alfred is so you can get some fire paper. He gives you 3 fire paper if you agree to cooperate with him. It's important to note that Alfred is actually one of the... I don't know. Most NPCs in Bloodborne are pretty fucked up. But Alfred's pretty fucked up. Anyway, you get the fire paper. I think it gives you a gesture as well. And from there, we can go into Old Yharnam. Now, Old Yharnam is also a reset point, not because of too much stuff. We'll get a blood gem here too. Not because of too much stuff. Like, it's a pretty easy area to run through. There's just one thing in Old Yharnam that causes lots of resets. Okay, so this wolf, it's important to note with these wolves, you can actually sprint into them as long as they're running towards you. Like that, I backed up. And they will miss you. Right? So you don't need to dodge, and since Bloodborne you can't dodge while you're sprinting, it's a safe strat. None of their attacks, as long as you're sprinting into them, will hit you. Of course, you gotta, you can't sprint into their face. You gotta sprint beside them. After that, you're in position for a visceral attack or a charged R2, or just meleeing them down with R1s. Okay, grab some cocktails. Those are important, and this song's throwing me off, sorry. And then we'll enter Old Yharnam. Okay. So I take a small detour here to get a Wandering Madness. The Wandering Madnesses are basically Bloodborne's version of Crystal Lizards. They drop upgrade materials. 3 Bloodstone Shards, more Bloodstone Shards. Again, we don't need to do this or get these. I just prefer to. it's also important to note that in BloodBorne, I guess I didn't explain this. Maybe I should have explained this from the start. But the way it works, basically, the mechanics of BloodBorne are a lot different from Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls in general. In Dark Souls in general, you basically have, you know, you have your attack, your R1, and in some cases you have variations. You have a jump attack. You have all that stuff. You have all that stuff in BloodBorne. But BloodBorne comes with a new system. There's not as many weapons in BloodBorne, but they each come with a second form. So they're called trick weapons because they have one form, and if you press L1, they have a different form. That hitbox glitched out there. I don't know if you saw that. My Molotov went right through that enemy. Something that happens in BloodBorne sometimes, I guess, but... hold on. I'll continue to explain the trick weapons here after this. So this is the next major reset point. You jump off here, and the way falls work in the Soulsborne series is sometimes if you, or I guess if you don't hit dodge within a certain amount of frames, you will get stunned there. Like, you will have a slow recovery. And if you have a slow recovery, Jura, who's on top of the watchtower shooting his machine gun at you, will actually hit you. Several times he'll kill you because you're stunned in that fall animation, and you'll die. Throw a cocktail here for safety. But anyway, trick weapons, if you press L1, you saw me do this on the dogs earlier, right before Old Yharnam, will change your weapon's form, and you'll have a pretty much entirely different moveset. In some cases, it means you dual wield. So in case of the Mercy Blades and the Rakuyo, you dual wield. And in some cases, it just, I don't know, like the Chikage, it'll make it so you take continuous damage, but you do more damage. Like, it's a really cool system. And with the trick weapon system, there are transitional attacks. So if you press L1 during a combo, you will do a transitional attack where you'll go from version 1 of the weapon to version 2 of the weapon. And in doing so, you'll have a more powerful attack, as well as those attacks build more beast blood meter. That's another thing you have to go into for BloodBorne, is there's a thing called beast blood meter. Okay, so there's all sorts of new stuff in BloodBorne, like insight, and you know, there's different mechanics of the game. What beast blood or beasthood is, sorry, what your beasthood is lore-wise, it's, you know, you're the closer you are to beasthood, the more you are to being a beast, right? But basically, beast blood meter is you pop a beast blood pellet, which I will do here in this fight, and then you build that meter, and the higher that meter is, the more damage you'll take. However, you will also do more damage. I think it lasts like a minute or something, 45 seconds, something like that. But it's very important to a bunch of strategies in this game, and I'll explain them as I go, because, you know, there's only so much I can explain at once. But so there, we pop the beast blood meter, or we put it in the menu. We get fire paper from Alfred, and I have pungent cocktails equipped, because it's not well known, but you can actually you can use pungent cocktails on Bloodstarved Beast, and he'll react to them as if he isn't a boss, basically. So here I'll do R1, L1, 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 3 transition attacks, and then R1, L1, L1, right? And my meter's building up there, you see that? And then an R1 and an L1. From here, I accidentally did another L1, which isn't good because I was supposed to throw a cocktail. It's okay, I dodged one of his attacks, pop the cocktail. And then from here, you're going to do 5 normal R1 attacks, and that should pop him into his third phase, right? From there, you can do an R2, a charged R2, hit his ankle, hit his back. And then if you have enough stamina, do another charged R2. If you don't, do a visceral attack, and you can finish him off with two hits. As long as you have the proper beast blood meter. Now, it's important to note that you have to do it in that order. You have to build up beast blood meter with the charged, or not the charged attacks, but the R1, L1, L1, L1 attacks, and then you have to do the 5 R1s in a row. Otherwise, you won't have enough damage. Okay. Anyway, Bloodstarved Beast, he gives a lot of people trouble. For this run, he's really shitty. He can cause a few resets. He's not too shitty, but he can jump all over the place. I don't like this song. He can jump all over the place, and he has weird hitboxes too, so in some cases he can hit you while you're behind him, which doesn't make sense, but it's happened. It's killed runs. And here is our first venture back to the Hunter's Dream. So we were technically supposed to be here at the beginning of the game, but since I skipped that, and I got the saw spear instead of the saw cleaver, we didn't have to come back until now. I went back right now, I grabbed the saw cleaver, and I grabbed the hunter's pistol, because that's what we'll be using for the rest of the run. The saw cleaver, in my opinion, is better in terms of moveset, and it scales with strength rather than skill, so it's I think it's most important to use it for the moveset, though, basically. Okay, so next is Vicar Amelia. Okay, she's not on the splits. I finally reset them, but she's next. And to get to her, this door opens. The door I just went through and the elevator I just went up opens after you kill the Bloodstar Beast, or you can buy a crest from the shop after you kill Cleric Beast. However, we don't kill Cleric Beast because, well, we don't kill Cleric Beast until later, because Cleric Beast is actually, you know, not good for no hits. He has a bunch of things about him that just make him unideal. So later we just kill him really, really fast, and we don't have to deal with killing him early. One of the things about Cleric Beast is he can, when he moves, sometimes he can hit you. It'll do like a tiny amount of damage, but it will stagger you, and that'll count as a hit. So instead of dealing with that early, we deal with it later. Okay, go up the tower, wrap around, drop down here, and you'll get to a secret area of the game. This is the Hunter's Workshop. I think that's what it's called. Old Hunter's Workshop, something like that. But here you pick up the doll clothes, which you will sell for a ton of money. A ton of souls. You get your umbilical cord, or one of 3 that you need for Moon Presence. And that small hair ornament I pick up just out of habit. It's just like a dialogue item. You can give it to the doll, get some extra dialogue and stuff. Make sure to heal, because you're going to be dropping down more. From here, it's very important that you don't hit those boxes right there. If you hit those boxes, that beast enemy will be alerted. He'll get up. He's like a pyro beast. He's actually pretty tanky and hard to kill, and he attacks fast. So you don't want him to be awake. Alternatively to doing this, you can actually just run past him. You can open the door and run past him while he's getting up, and you'll be fine. But I really want the Beast Ruin for later, so I kill him, just so I don't have to come back here and get it. We get that. We run past here. Here you have to strafe really, really, really close to that dog, otherwise he will hit you. So it looks like you just run past him, but actually you have to like run very, very close to him, otherwise you'll be hit. And you have to be sprinting as well. Up the elevator, and then we want to open the 2 gates here, and this is timed. So as soon as you get up the elevator into this area, the enemies start patrolling in a certain way, so you want to be very, very, very fast here, otherwise they will be in unideal positions. So yeah, I pop the 2 elevators, and then I run back around as to not run past them, and then run up. Okay, so there's 3 enemies here. Big guy, 2 guys there, and then there's a guy who can spawn that will shoot a gun at you. So you have to make sure to stay really close to that railing, otherwise you'll get hit in the back. Those guys over there, as long as you're sprinting at the bottom of the stairs and you go straight to the door and press the X button right away, you will not get hit. Unless that guy iframes you on your wake up animation for the door, which isn't likely at all. I don't think it's ever happened to me. Okay, Vicar Amelia. So this is also a speedrunner strat, and this is very, very, very particular. This works 100% of the time, every single time. You pop a fire paper, you run in, you're going to pop a beast butt pellet at that exact point, you're going to R1, L1, L1, stagger her, run around, R1, L1, L1, stagger her again, and then you're going to recharge stamina. So you see my stamina's almost full there? R1, L1, 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 right? 3 L1s, and then you're going to hit her once in the head, visceral attack, target her arm, or her leg there, sorry. R1, L1, L1. to do like a 12 hit stagger, and then R1 L1 dodge the attack, or I guess move out of the way, and then another 12 hit stagger, or however many hit stagger, and then you can kill her right that with full beast blood meter. So that's with a +0 weapon, no upgrades, Vicar Amelia, which is usually not doable because she heals, but because of the mechanics of this game, you can do that. You get the cutscene there and you go down. So that's one thing I haven't explained yet, and I will explain. In BloodBorne, there's an additional mechanic over the normal Souls games, which is limb staggering. Basically, as you saw in Vicar Amelia, she has not just one massive hitbox, but she has different hitboxes for different limbs, which includes her 2 legs, her 2 arms, and her head. And basically the way it works, if you do enough damage to any one of her limbs, she will have a limb stagger. And if you have enough limb staggers, you will put her in a position for a visceral attack. And that's how that works. And every time her limb is broken, she will take double damage on that limb, which is very important. That's how we were able to do so much damage on top of the beast blood meter. As well as she will also have to heal that limb later. She can still use it, I believe, but she will waste an attack every now and then to heal her limb, and then you can stagger it again. A very important thing, that we take advantage of that in that fight as well. So that's another reason why I believe BloodBorne is more fun, is because just of these additional mechanics, these really cool mechanics that you can use to your advantage. It has a very high skill cap, or a higher skill cap in terms of Dark Souls, I believe. Whew, okay. Anyway, we basically got the password, Fear the Old Blood. We come to the forest, open that door, gathering Madman's wisdom along the way, just in case. And here's the forest section. So this is a little bit tedious. This is a running section. You're going to wait here for that wolf, that beast enemy, to pass by on his patrol path. You run past him so he doesn't aggro. You grab this lamp. Yeah, I almost forgot it. And it's also important to note, this is the last section before we upgrade our weapon. So we're sitting on a +0 weapon right now. And of course we could have upgraded earlier, but since Vicar Amelia is so consistent, and same thing with Bloodstarved Beast, you don't really need a stronger weapon to kill it consistently. We haven't done it, you know? And you might ask, okay, like, you know, it's a no-hit run, it's not a speed run. Why not just, why not upgrade? You know, why not upgrade? Why not just do as much damage as you can? You can take all the time you want. And the reason for that is because in no-hit runs, especially, what I find is you have to manage your mentality. So if you get, you know, a little bit drained or annoyed or anxious, or there's changes to your mentality, you perform worse. And if you perform worse, it's a very shitty feeling to be at a certain part in a run and then have to reset and have to redo like all the tedious parts and all that, just based on one small mistake. It gets to you, it tilts you, right? Another thing that can tilt you is time. So if the start of the run takes, like, let's say I go to Bloodstarved Beast and that takes an hour every time, you know, that's gonna wear on me, you know, and I'm gonna output less runs because of that, and I'm gonna feel worse and all these things. It's gonna, it wears on you in a different way. So for that reason, I tend to, you know, try and balance fast strats with safe strats. Okay, anyway, what I did here, if you weren't paying attention or listening to me talk, was I picked up some blue elixirs, and I picked up some more beast blood pellets. I used an elixir at the start of this river so that the guys up top won't throw Molotovs at me. They won't detect me unless I sprint, basically. And then from there, that's an oil river, so one Molotov will kill one of those enemies, and since those enemies, again, if you remember from the beginning of the game, have quick attacks, you want to kill them. So it's actually a very tricky section. I believe K Witty came up with that strat, who's actually in chat right now, and he's a really good BloodBorne speedrunner. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Anyway, after the Molotov River, you go here, you visceral, you can sprint up to that wolf. He's not sound detecting, or I think he's on a timer. You can do 2 R2s, 2 viscerals, kill him, and then you pick up more pungent cocktails there. This route is important that you go through the house, otherwise you will have enemies with guns shooting at you. And of course, since they're at a distance, you can't really see them. Makes it harder to dodge, so it's just safer to go that route through the area. Okay. The forest is the only place, I believe, in the game, in the main game or the normal game, where you'll see these enemies as well. The Snake Man, they remind me of the Resident Evil things. I think they actually are based on the Resident Evil things, or a homage to it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. But they're a little bit tough to deal with. They have a lot of health. They have quick attacks. But luckily enough, we only have to run past one in close proximity. So what you can do for that guy is you can wait for, I think, 1 of 3 attacks. You can parry 2 of them, and if he uses his axe, you can just run past him. You have a small window. And if he doesn't, if he just keeps doing shitty attacks, then you can draw him back and run around him. But after that, you get the elevator, unlock the shortcut, because we're going to be hunters marking out shortly here. Also, something I did not explain is we have been... Hold on. We have been picking up twin blood shards in the forest. The forest, I think other than Hemwick Charnel Lane, is the first place you can get twin blood shards, which are important because you need to upgrade past +3 for shadows to do them consistently. Okay, so here you want to sneak up on this guy behind him, do a charge R2, and then aim his visceral so he doesn't fall off the cliff. If he falls off the cliff, you have a problem. And then you can get another charge R2 with the proper timing, and another visceral, and then he should die in 1 more hit. In some cases, he'll die right away, but it really just depends on a few things. It's also very important to kill him, because in some cases, he will drop a blood gem that will give you plus, like, 8.7% on your attack, which is very, 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 very helpful for shadows. Okay, more twin blood shards. Avoid these snakes. Don't go near them. I think they have a quick attack, but as long as you're out of range, you're fine. And then you Hunter's Mark out. And in BloodBorne, the Hunter's Mark is basically it's BloodBorne's version of the Homeward Bone, except you don't teleport back to the last. Oh, no, sorry, you do teleport back to the last lap, I think. Yeah, you do. And then from there we go to the Hunter's Dream. But it's also important to note that in BloodBorne, the loading screens are a lot longer because it's a PS4 exclusive, right? So, yeah, we get teleported to this last lap and then we go to the Hunter's Dream. So, you want to, or personally, my personal preference is as few loading screens as possible, because I don't like sitting here and waiting for them. I get really anxious. My hands get, busy, blah, blah, blah. I'd rather just be moving, attacking, doing stuff. Okay, so we picked up all that insight earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the well. We're going to spend that insight, or sorry, we're going to use this insight first. The Madman's insight. I don't know if you can see it behind the splits. Madman's knowledge to get up top 16 insight, and then since we picked up a bunch of bloodstone shards, we don't have to buy a total of 16. We can just buy a few more. So I get a total of 16 there. Sorry. We don't have to buy like 16 right at the well. We can just buy, I think I bought 7 there. I bought 7 there. I also bought a pungent cocktail, or like 6 pungent cocktails for a total of 10, because you can only hold 10 at a time. And I bought Gascoigne's hat, which I'm going to equip shortly. And the reason I bought Gascoigne's hat is because it has a higher beasthood than the hunter set, which I don't think really matters too much in this run. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but we basically started to do it, and there's no reason not to do it, so we do it. It doesn't take too much extra time. I upgraded my weapon there to a +5, I believe. I equipped my blood gems, all 3 of them. I think you get a total of +11% damage or something. Something small, but again, still matters. Equip the Hunter set as well as the Gascoigne's hat, and sell all the rest of the stuff, including the doll's clothes. And you'll notice the doll's clothes is substantially more expensive or valuable than the rest of the items you have. And then from there, with all the echoes, the blood echoes, the souls you have, you're gonna get, I think, 25 strength and 24 skill. Yes. Which is, I haven't tested this fight with any other amounts of skill or strength, but it will be very helpful. I'm not sure if I did it here, but you're also supposed to pick up the Hunter's Cane, and in picking up the Hunter's Cane, you use that for a strategy later. That's important. You need the Hunter's Cane to execute that strategy, and usually I want to do it now, so it just saves me back. Saves me a trip back to the Hunter's Dream. Okay. Whew. Okay. Lots of talking, man. So now we're on the Shadows fight, and so we're just gonna take the shortcut and then run all the way to the Shadows. There's like a few things you have to manage. Like you have to manage your stamina a little bit so you don't get hit in the back by snake spit. Or should I have a +6? Sorry, a +6, not a +5. But it's a pretty straightforward run. But the Shadows fight itself, so that was the biggest problem with the run for a while. We could not figure out a consistent way to do the Shadows of Yharnam fight. The Shadows of Yharnam fight is 3 different bosses, right? They become regular enemies later on in the game. But of course, you know, fighting 3 enemies at a time, there are going to be RNG moments. There's going to be a moment where one is attacking, the other one's behind you, or, you know, you can't keep all of them in camera, or 2 of them do, like, chained attacks where you can't possibly iframe them. There's going to be situations where you're just unable to really, you know, you're just going to be caught in really bad situations due to RNG, and you're going to get hit. And that's what would happen a lot of the time in the Shadows fight, because not only are they just 3 different enemies, but all of them have ranged attacks, and all of them have different attacks and different AI, and they behave weird, and, you know, you can't sprint and dodge in BloodBorne, and it's just, there's a lot of stuff working against you. So it was a really, really hard fight to get consistent. But I believe eventually we did find, or my method I found for myself is more or less consistent. Squilla uses a different method in which he actually parries the Shadows, which in my opinion is a lot fucking more scarier, more scary than what I do, but it works. Okay, so with the stats and so on and so forth, you can go into this fight. You don't want to use a fire paper here. You need to save it for Rom, but pop a Beast Blood Pellet, run in, and these guys have a small period of time where they will not attack you, so you can take advantage of that, doing a charged R2 with the Saw Cleaver in trick form. And then basically what you want to do here is you want to watch that shadow in the back, the one with the mace, the Pyromancer one. Make sure he's not firing at you. If at any time, and you listen with your you know, audio cues as well, if at any time he's firing at you, you do not want to attack. It's just too dangerous. Yeah, it's way too dangerous. But basically what you want to do is you want to get the Pyromancer shadow and the non-candle shadow. So you can't see it right now, but there's one shadow holding a candle. You want to get the other shadow, the shadow with the katana without a candle, and the Pyromancer shadow to the same health. It's a little bit less. It might be a quarter or so. Yeah, it might be a quarter. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to wait till that shadow attacks, and then or gets close to you, and then you're going to attack him once, twice, or 3 times, depending on the position of the candle shadow, and also if the Pyromancer shadow is attacking, and you're going to lower his health that way. He has a lot more health than the Pyromancer shadow, so you want to focus on him mostly. Anytime that guy's firing fireballs, you want to strafe in a circle. So you have to be very aware of your environment. And you also have to be very aware of the positions of the shadows, because remember, if you're sprinting and you try to dodge, you will jump, which is no iframes, which means you'll get hit. Whew, okay. yeah. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. It's very important not to be greedy in this fight. Very, very important not to be greedy. If you are greedy, you will die in most cases. Like, it's a big risk. In some cases, it's really nice to get everything at low health right off the bat, but it's risky. Anyway, use the terrain, use the environment. That's pretty much perfect health right there for the two shadows. They're right on the cusp of phase 2, so getting one of these shadows lower than that will put all three of them into phase 2, and they will go through a transformation animation, basically. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get a specific scenario where the pyro shadow is not firing and the candle shadow is far enough back where he doesn't queue up an attack before I'm done attacking the main katana shadow. Okay, so what I did there is I was able to kill the katana shadow during the transformation animation, leaving two shadows left. I hit the candle shadow during his lighting of his putting fire on his weapon, which resets his animation, gives you more time. Oh, that's not good. And I almost killed the last shadow. I took it a little bit safe. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to bait out an attack from the... Oh god, Jesus, this is a terrible fight. This is actually really scary. From the candle shadow, so that I can safely attack the pyro shadow. Okay. And lastly, what you can do here is if you bait out an attack and you dodge it, and you're close enough to the candle shadow, he will queue up a dodge right after that. So he will always dodge to the right or the left, depending on, or after an attack, depending on how close you are to him. And if you do that and you hit him, he will dodge again. And you can hit him again and he will dodge again. And you can take advantage of that AI loop and you can kill him really, really easily. And that's why we don't lower his health at all. It's also important to note that if you have his health, I think below 60% or 70%, he will start doing an attack, or I guess those shadows, all of them will do an attack, where they summon snakes from around the arena, and they're very incredibly hard to dodge. I have no idea how to dodge them. They always appear in different places and stuff. So you don't want that. So, you know, the ideal situation is you get it once and that's it. If you get it once, you run to a corner and then you hope you don't get it again and you hope you can kill him before he does it again, basically. Okay, now we're on the ROM split, which I also don't have in the splits, but this is ROM. What we do here, I play this safe. I kill all these enemies. Those fly enemies will always, as long as you're within their straight line of sight, run up to you and do a jump attack where they try to land on you and try to frenzy you. So you can take advantage of that, and you can kill them in one cycle as long as you have the stats and the upgrades I do. Yeah, so we kill them all. I open that shortcut and I wait for that, I don't even know what kind of enemy it is, whatever that thing is, to de-aggro. It's gross. BloodBorne has some really, you know, just not good looking enemies, man. Like, you know, really weird and off-putting enemies. He has fireballs. You don't want to screw with him, man. Wait for him to de-aggro, look back. He is not sound aggro, he's vision aggro, so you can actually you just wait for him. You can do whatever you want behind him pretty much. This guy, okay, last one. Since that guy's not vision aggro or sound aggro, you can kill him safely. And then you're going to grab those sedatives that he was guarding. These are sedatives. These are important for later. I think you can get some other in another place, or you can get some from the Cosmic Eye Hunters badge, but we get them here. 5 sedatives are enough for the rest of the game. Okay, so what we do here is we run up the stairs to cue that Hunter's patrol path. Wait at the bottom of the stairs or underneath the stairs so he or she doesn't see you. And then you can safely walk by. Otherwise, this chick hunter is really hard to deal with, especially in a confined place. She has, I believe she has Call Beyond. Yeah, she has Call Beyond, which will home in on you. So it's not as simple as just dodging, you know. It's becomes more difficult. But this is a lot easier to deal with than that. She goes and stares at the chest in the corner. It's good. Anyway, this allows you to get to the Lunarium key. Sorry. Not used to talking this much. Which allows you to get to Rom. Lore-wise, I believe Rom is Master Willem's wife. And she's preventing the blood moons somehow. But yeah. Anyway, that's different. That's Master Willem right there. So you're gonna jump off this to Rom, and the Rom fight, it can go one of two ways. You can do it fast, or you can do slow. And I'll explain it as I go. But it's also a pretty specific method. So you're gonna shoot Rom with your gun. You don't want to go up and hit Rom because it'll off-put the damage, and also the spiders might fall on you. And then this first phase, you're gonna take carefully. So you never want to attack these spiders in proximity of each other because they will probably hit you. Spiders take 2 hits to kill. Don't hit them on the mask in the front. So I hit them on the body because that's where they're weak. If you get that attack, you kill them in 1 hit because you do counter damage. But you don't want to be in front of them, and you don't want to be behind them. If you're behind them, they can hit you with a silk shot from their butts, and it's a very quick, instant attack. And if you're in front of them, they can do a variety of things. But you'll see I'll just circle around, counterclockwise, clockwise, it doesn't matter. Hit him in the mask there so he didn't die. They take very little damage on their masks. But basically, we're just being really, really careful here, you know. This is an easy section. It's a little bit long, slightly tedious. Right there, I ran away from his butt because I didn't want to get butt blasted. But yeah, we're going to kill these, and then what I'll do is I'll explain how we're going to kill Rom after that. So Rom, in the first phase, she is, it's a girl, she is passive. She will not attack you. She will not attack you. She will sit there and just look at you. But she also has a mask. So what you'll see me do in Rom's first phase is you'll see me put away my weapon, pop a beast blood pellet, and then punch her in the mask using R1, L1, L1, L1 transitional attacks. I believe you can use R2, 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 R2. It's just quick R2s, and it might be faster, I'm not sure, but I use R1, L1, 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 L1. And what I do there is I'm building the beast blood meter with punches, okay? Punches because they do very little damage, and on the mask because, again, you want to do very little damage because the phase 2 HP transition point is very, very specific, and you wanna get as close to that as possible, while building beast blood meter to the maximum amount as possible, so that the last attack you do, or the last few attacks you do, will push her really, 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 really far into her second phase HP, and then from there, with you know, abuse of the, well, not abuse of the mechanics, but specific inputs, you can kill her before she even gets to phase 2. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll build the beast blood meter on her mask using punches. I will put my weapon back on. I will buff it with fire paper, my last fire paper. That's the reason we didn't use it on shadows. And from there, I will have full beast blood meter, and I will have a buffed weapon with fire paper. Being cautious here. These spiders, they tend to, you know, they're only allowed a certain radius away from Rom where they can freely act, otherwise they move back. But I'll do that, and then I'll start attacking Rom. And it's important that you go to like her midsection, so you don't hit her mask anymore. Because if you hit her mask, you screw up. You lose an attack, you're gonna, you know, not be able to get her. Whew. I will do, I believe, an R1, L1, and then an R1, 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 and then a charged R2, which will stagger her. And then I think an R1, 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 L1 will kill her. Yeah, and it's as long as you hit all of the hits into her midsection and not her mask, including the charge R2, you'll be fine. I'll demonstrate it here. So as I said, I'm doing the R1 L1 to charge the Beast Blood meter, the R1 L1 because transition attacks charge Beast Blood meter more than normal regular attacks do. Put my weapon back on right after this, or am I being safe? Yeah, I'm being safe, just so she doesn't jump back while I'm, you know, waste Beast Blood meter. R1 L1, yeah, and then R1 R1 R1. Charge R2 should stagger her. But apparently, during the no-hit run, I must have missed it or something. I think I missed it. Yeah, I did. I missed it. That sucks. I really wanted to show this strategy. It's really cool because she dies right there, and then you avoid this phase completely. God, I forgot I completely missed it. Anyway, this becomes a very long fight now. Because we have to kill all these spiders while dodging attacks from Rom, you know? And Rom tends to spam them, you know? They're map wide. There's a map wide attack, you know, and it's difficult. And of course, you're this far in the run, you're past shadows. You don't want to take any chances, but now you got like a. I think one time this fight took 20. I think Squilla might have took 26 minutes on this fight once or something. I don't know, but either way, we have to kill all these spiders slowly but surely. There's 2 waves of spiders here, and we have to do it while Rom's attacking, so this becomes very slow. I forgot this happened during the run. Alternatively, if you don't miss the charged R2 like I did, but you don't necessarily kill Rom, what you can do is you can actually take out there. So there's the map-wide fucking attack. You can take out your Molotovs and you can throw Molotovs at Rom from a distance, which I've done before, and it's worked, and it's actually really satisfying. But since Rom has over half her HP right now, you know, it's not probable. Anyway, we're just gonna dodge and dodge and dodge and dodge. I think we'll skip this. I think we'll fast forward through this part because this is literally just killing spiders. But before we do, I want to explain one thing, and this is one thing I should have explained at the beginning. Was that BloodBorne is unique in no-hit runs in that the methods are all very specific. So, in Dark Souls 1, or Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls whatever, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1, you'll have, you know, the runners will have different styles of fighting the bosses. Like, for example, in Dark Souls 3, I fight Pontiff without parrying him at a very close distance. The Happy Hob fights Pontiff without parrying at a very far distance, and Squillakilla fights Pontiff with bare hand parries. Like, you can do that in Dark Souls 3. But in BloodBorne, the strategies, because of things like limb staggering, visceral attacks, beast blood meter, are all very, very, very specific. Or most of them are very, very, very specific. So, BloodBorne No Hits, you will see the same strategies amongst many different runners, or very, very close to the same strategies amongst most of the runners. But yeah. Do I want to fast forward this? You know, let's leave it actually. We've thinned out the herd of spiders, and the herd of spiders? I wonder what spiders are called in a group. I don't think they're called a herd. Spiders are never in groups, right? Trying to think if there's anything else I can fit in, because like talking, there's so much to talk about for this run, so I wanna see if I can ease up the load a little bit by doing this stuff. Oh. Well, I mean, I can talk about that later. I could talk about it a little bit later. But yeah, we're gonna kill the spiders here. I'll look at chat right now. Thank you for the sub, whoever subbed, by the way. I appreciate that. And for the resubs as well. Thank you guys. An army of nopes. A cluster? What's up, Judge? Not even Hunter's Mark. Well, that's the thing, Donnie Wrecked, is he had so much HP and I didn't have another fire paper. So because I didn't have enough fire paper, I didn't want to Hunter's Mark out. Because, you know, I would just have to, you know, do the same thing, basically. I would just have to kill another wave of spiders at the beginning and then, you know, try and kill. It would be pretty much the same work, so I just decided not to Hunter's Mark out. Yeah, and this part of the fight isn't too hard, you know, it's just tedious. You just got to be careful and take time, not read chat, not get complacent, not get too close to Rom, you know, all this stuff. Thoku, what's up? Leon Dan, hello. Irish Trickster, hey. Tambor King, thanks for the congrats, whatever that is. A group of spiders is called Mosquito Destroyers, huh? Mastian said it's not gonna happen, man. Never gonna happen. I don't know why. It's just how it works. Anyway, okay, so we killed the last spider here. Wonderful. Now we're on Rom, and Rom's actually very dangerous. Okay, so if you get close, she can do this thrash attack. So I'm being very careful. She can either do 3 or 5 little hops in a row. On top of that, she can do her usual attack. She can do like an attack where she just does like an AoE explosion, like a spherical AoE, or whatever. And since I don't practice Rom, because you know we're so used to getting the quick kill on Rom, I take this really slow. I don't want to risk anything. There's probably a few segments in which I can attack more or attack less, attack more. But I'm playing it really safe because we just got through a very long fight. If I reset now, I will probably be very demoralized. See, I almost got hit there. I'll probably be demoralized in some way. I'll probably just not want to do it. So I want this run to keep going, and so I'm gonna keep going. You know. I prefer BloodBorne. How long does this full run take? I think I do it in 3 hours, I think, yeah. I think so. Anyway, getting a little bit greedy. Rom's Rom. It's really weird when she does that attack close. It's scary. She doubles up on it. Oh, also, since we don't level up stamina. Okay, so another thing about BloodBorne is you don't level up your stamina because you have pretty much enough stamina to get through the entire game, including the DLC. Like, you don't need stamina, which is a really cool thing because you can focus just on stats. And this isn't just for like no-hit playthroughs or speedrun playthroughs. This is just normal, you know? I think in order to get another single attack, you need 5 more stamina, 5 points in the stamina, 5 levels. So I think beyond 10 levels, it's not even worth it. But you don't even need that. Like, you're never really R1 spamming to that extent, you know what I mean? And BloodBorne even has a rally potential, rally meter. Stamina recharges so fast, and you can get like something even later that helps with that. But that's kind of important to note. Here, I get Molotovs because I'm scared, I guess. Or I just wanted to kill her. I don't know, maybe I was impatient. Maybe I wanted to do a Colby, but I threw one at her. I didn't kill her, so we still have to do this anyway. Now I'm trying to shoot her. Maybe I'm nervous. I don't know. I'm smiling in the video. You can't see this because it's behind me. I'm smiling, so maybe I'm just fucking around. Okay, Rom's dead. Rom is dead. So now that Rom's dead, blood rains from the sky. Wonderful, Rom's blood. And then you go talk to the Yharnam Queen to trigger a cutscene, and the Blood Moon appears. And what the Blood Moon does is... Oh no, I'm going to take a break, am I? Yeah, I just got up to leave. Yeah, this is a break, so I just sit here and do nothing. Okay, I'm back. Talking to chat. I equipped the blue elixir for this next section. Talk to the Yharnam Queen. This is actually the final optional boss of the game. In the Chalice Dungeons, you go to the Chalice Dungeons, you finish the Chalice Dungeons, she is the last boss of the game. She's considered pretty difficult. I don't think I had too much trouble with her, but she's not in this run. Chalice Dungeons are not in this run. Chalice Dungeons aren't in no-hit runs or speed runs. It's kind of just agreed upon that, you know, adding in Chalice Dungeons would just be incredibly tedious and incredibly inconsistent and just terrible, and I think you know, it would just make the runs a lot less fun, a lot less consistent, you know. Okay, here I have my blue elixirs out. I'm gonna run past these guys. These guys won't attack. I'm gonna stop right here and wait for this enemy to charge me because he has a quick attack, and it's very hard to get past him in that enclosed corridor in that little stairwell. Because if he's standing in the perfect place, which he is a lot of the time, he will block you on both sides and attack you. The other enemies catch up, it's a problem. Pick up some bloodstone chunks there, pop that elixir, and then you're going to run a very specific pattern, it doesn't look specific, through these guys. Because if you don't, there are multiple opportunities to get hit by either gunshots or quick attacks. Wrap around here. Grab the bolt paper. That's important if you aren't doing Paarl. It's important anyway. And then drop down. You want to be very, 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 very fast here. Again, a very specific route. If you deviate even the slightest, things can go wrong. You're going to pop another blue elixir here. Grab this chunk. Run down and fall down. I do this part early compared to the other runners. Just because it flows better, it's more consistent, it's more, you know, it's less time intensive overall. Right there, I grabbed the Lunarium key, I think, yeah. The Lunarium key, I believe. Which will, sorry, the upper Cathedral ward key, not the Lunarium key. Which will allow us to get to some optional bosses later. It also gives us access to the Cosmic Eye Hunter's badge, which we're gonna get next. Anyway, pop my last blue elixir. Don't go close to those enemies because they have quick attacks, especially that one with the long-ass spear thing. You can run and you can touch the laser, but you can't touch the explosion. The explosion will hit you. So you just go into that small little alcove on the stairs. You won't get hit. You have a very, very, very small amount of time before those ladies will come for you. So it's very specific, again, that you run. You don't dilly-dally or whatever, you know, you go and you do that. Kill the Wandering Madness, get 2 more chunks. Here I will throw a cocktail, just for safety's sake. There are 2 dogs down there. They will react to the cocktail, move out of the way. They're gone. And then here is also very specific, because you got 2 guys with guns that will shoot at you, but as long as you do that exactly in that manner, they won't hit you. I think there's like a very, very small % chance they will hit you. It's incredibly small. I'm going to run here. You got to run past these NPCs. This is risky. This is one of the only RNG portions of the run. Depending on how that last guy moved or his position, he might hit you. And it might just be like, okay, he hit you. You know, it sucks, but it's how it is. Hold on, guys. Anyway, I run up here and get this shortcut for later. I do that circular section so I can use that shortcut later, so I don't have to run past him again. And then we go down, and you know, you have 10 pungent cocktails. There's no need to risk any hits, so you just throw one there. I think we throw one as we go up again. And this is for chunks. So there's some chunks down here, and then on the way to Paarl, there's some chunks as well. And all you have to really deal with are these enemies. The wolf enemies. this guy's not being cooperative. He's not supposed to be that far down the stairs. That's actually very scary. He almost hit me. But you should be able to sprint away. It should be fine. On the odd case, one of the enemies from... Yeah, one of these fork enemies might follow you down, but you can just use the pillar to your advantage. In doing that, though, you got to remember there's a wolf chasing you on the way up. Here, if you start sprinting and you keep sprinting, this guy will never hit you. He will, like, you know, readjust and stuff, and then you can sprint all the way here. In some cases, if he's super, super fast, which he wasn't here, you have to go there and wait for him to de-aggro and then get the bloodstone chunks. Yeah, and okay, so we're on Paarl. This is essentially a modified speedrunner method. I have more stats, so it's a lot easier. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna pop a beast blood pellet. Gonna wait for his initial AoE explosion. It's just safer to do that. You can actually hit him before that, before he gets that off and stagger him, but it's safer. It doesn't take too much time. So what I'm doing here is I'm attacking each of his limbs with an R1, L1, and then an L1, and then recharging stamina, R1, L1, L1. You gotta hit his limbs, and again, just like Vicar Amelia, this is a very consistent method. It's a lot easier to pull off, but as you go around, you stagger each of the limbs. You can stagger the head as well. You can get a visceral attack on the head, and you build beast blood meter. And in doing so, Paarl's really, really, really easy. In usual fights, Paarl's actually really hard. He's big and he's fast, so camera angles on him are difficult, and he jumps all over the place. But with that method, it's no problem. Also important to know, not a lot of people know this, but you can use pungent cocktails on Paarl. Since he is a beast type enemy, he will react to pungent cocktails. Whew. Okay, so now comes a relatively long section before the One Reborn. What I'm doing now is I'm basically getting access to blue elixirs. So we just finished Paarl. We have One Reborn, Micolash, and Wet Nurse, and that's the any % done. But we need more blue elixirs for the rest of the run, so I choose to get them now as opposed to later. And if I get them now, it allows me to use more blue elixirs in the beginning of the run, which makes the beginning of the run safer, like the fucking the chunk farm area, the Yahar'gul makes that area a lot easier for me. But I think other runners do this later, which I prefer not to do. Basically, you go to Vicar Amelia, except instead of going down, like instead of going down the tower, you go up. And we just got the Upper Cathedral Ward key at the top of the tower. Or, sorry, not at the top of the tower. In Yahar'gul. And so that's why we don't do this sooner. This is the soonest we can do this. This is a tough section. You run out, and then you do a very specific angle, like a very specific angle. Because there's basically a guy with a gun, and he's already aggroed towards you. You can't see him, he's off screen, but you saw a bullet went past me. He can shoot at you anytime you're out, and it can hit you at any time. So when you turn and how you turn has to be very specific, otherwise you'll get hit. It's actually a little bit inconsistent. But in doing that, you dodge most of the hits. Kill these guys. These guys are easy. You can pick up their bullets. You might use them later for some strats. You get the Radiant Hunter's Badge here, which unlocks I believe the Ludwig's Holy Blade, as well as fire paper. Okay, that's important. In previous renditions of this run, I used to go up and get this fire paper, and then go back down. But then you got to run past the gun guy twice, so it doubles the risk. So it's not. You can phase it out. You don't really need fire paper for shadows. Okay, there's a blue elixir right here. These guys are kind of annoying. They actually ended a few runs until I figured out how to deal with them. It's really simple dealing with them. It's kind of annoying, actually. What you got to do is you got to run up to them, and they got to aggro you. So they aren't really aggro to you right now. They behave weird, like really weird. When they point at you, that's when they're aggro to you, and that's when they'll start actually, like, they're kind of gravitating towards me, you see, but they're not actually aggro towards me. that guy pointed towards me, so now he's going to come towards me. That guy pointed towards me, so now he's going to come towards me. I want to lure them as close to these stairs as possible. They will not go down these stairs. They will not. And if you sprint out of here, they will not hit you because they're just fucking around near the gate for some reason. But that's consistent. The only thing is, they have to point at you. They have to aggro you at a specific place. Otherwise, they will de-aggro and they'll start walking back, which can be a problem. Okay. Whew. So, I got my blue elixir from that area. I'm going to go back to the Hunter's Dream, and I'm going to go back to Yahar'gul. And the reason I go back to Yahar'gul instead of continuing on, because I go back to the Upper Cathedral Ward later, is because I want more upgrade materials. Okay, and we need more blue elixirs to get those upgrade materials. I think there's 4 chunks left or something. And we also need a blood gem that we get in Yahar'gul. So we're going to teleport to Yahar'gul Chapel, and we're going to redo the section with the 2 gun guys. Again, it's consistent, so it's not really worrying. You just got to throw a cocktail and run. And since we unlocked the shortcut earlier, we don't have to run past those NPCs. So there's very little risk to doing this. It takes a little bit more time, but we are far enough into the run where, you know, time's not a super factor. You know, it's not really a big deal, because when you're at this portion of the run, you've pretty much gotten any percent. The rest of the strats are consistent enough, as long as you execute properly, that you won't have very consistent resets. Yeah. Like, if you make a mistake at this point, it's mostly on you. It's probably like 95% on you. There's like a very small chance that RNG can screw you over here, which is nice. It's a really nice thing to have a run like that. Okay, so we're gonna run up here, kill this guy. You're not gonna bother with the chick up here. She doesn't matter. They're basically like necromancers. They will respawn, or, you know, resurrect the people you kill with buff stats and stuff. Run out, bait that guy out. Since you have the blue elixir, he's not aggroed. You can run up to him, and you can basically grab the chunk from underneath him. This guy, you want to circle counterclockwise or clockwise. Whichever way you circle him, you need to run the opposite way, or sorry, in the same direction. And you want to keep circling him as you pick up the 2 items. I picked up some more chunks there and some more bolt paper. Okay. That guy will jump out at you sometimes. For some reason, he doesn't sometimes. It's weird. But so you make a wide arc there. And then you're going to take this elevator up. You're going to jump off. You want your cocktails ready here, because there are 2 dogs. Or I think 3 dogs. And there's some more down below. And throwing cocktails at them makes them very easy to deal with. Going to this bath, I actually don't know what it is or why it's there. I've never read up on the lore of the bath or anything. But it will teleport you to an area, and from here, you avoid a lot of, like, those basket enemies. Those basket enemies are actually really dangerous. They have, like, instantaneous range attacks with very little, you know, very little warning, and they're fast, and there's multiple ones of them, so you can just take the bath and teleport, and you'll avoid a lot of them. Okay, there's a guy coming up here. Stay here, wait for a gunshot, or I guess he just didn't aggro that time, and kill him. It's really shitty to lose a run to just, you know, a point-blank gunshot. Gonna throw a cocktail here. You're gonna get your hunter's marks ready. That gem right there, I believe, boosts your attack by 18%. So it's very important to get. It's a really good gem. One of the best in the main game. I think I think there's 3 total that are kind of close to it. But that's a very good gem to get, and it's easy to get. There's no risk, so you might as well get it. Okay, so that's Yahar'gul. That's all we had to do there, other than fight the One Reborn, and that's the reason we came back there as well. To get those upgrade materials, to get the gem, because this next section, it's basically, it's like an exploit. I think it's called a skip, but it's an exploit. What I do next, I think it's called the orphanage skip. I don't know what it's actually called. It's another speedrunner strat, But yeah, I'll upgrade to +8 and I'll put the gem on. But basically what we do is we attack an enemy through the door. And I said earlier I needed the cane. This is what we use the cane for. I hope... Oh, see, I don't have it, so I have to buy it here. This is what we use the cane for. And I've forgotten the cane multiple times, so... it's important to get it. It sucks getting to the skip and then not having the cane and having the Hunter's Mark back. In this as well, I also level up. Because we only get 4 Hunter's Marks during the any %. So for this section, I prefer to use Bolt Hunter's Marks, so I just level up and I will use my Bolt Hunter's Mark to get out, and I'll lose all my Echoes or Souls or whatever, and that'll be fine. I think oh, I'm buying more Molotovs in case. Yeah, I'm just spending everything I can. Am I? Maybe? Am I considering leveling up? I'm not sure what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna level up. Instead of spend my souls, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna level. I'm gonna get an extra level. I guess doesn't really matter. I get 2 extra points of skill, so that's actually pretty good. Oh, also one thing I didn't mention is the way skill and visceral attacks work is every 5 levels of skill, so 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, etc. I get a new chunk of visceral damage, some more visceral damage in a large chunk. So if you're going for visceral attacks, you level up skill, and you will get skill every big chunks every 5 levels. Important to note, because in this run we go up to 50 skill and we don't get any more than that. Okay. Whew. So this next section, man. Alright, this next section, let's see. Shit, it's already been an hour. This next section, so what we're gonna do here, we're in the orphanage, and the lore behind this area is, they would take orphans and they'd do experiments on them. They'd transfer them into like those things or something like that. It had something to do with kin and mating people with kin. It's really fucked up. Wait for that guy to point, gunshot him instantaneously, or not instantaneously after, but really quickly after. Visceral attack him to the side, and then you can run past him. Otherwise, he's dangerous in a contained area with a massive scythe. It's not good. If you don't to the side him, you can get fucked. So what we do here is we take out the whip, we trick weapon it, and if you use a jump attack, you can barely hit that guy, and then you back up, and then he will be at the door. So I pop a bolt paper here with my saw cleaver, and then since I upgraded my weapon enough, and we got good RNG, we can kill him in 2 hits. You want to be careful because his projectile can actually clip through the door, and that counts as a hit. Yeah, so that's very fast. That's very good. Orphanage key. In some cases, what he can do is he will not walk up to the door. He will just stand there and fire his projectile, which won't do anything, but it won't change his position, and your whip will knock him back just a tiny bit. So you won't be able to reach him anymore, and you'll have to Hunter's Mark and redo that section. Okay, throw a cocktail here because a bunch of wolves will fall down. And if you throw a cocktail early and you run this exact path, or a very similar path to this, they won't be able to catch up to you or get through the door for some reason. In certain cases where I've run the other way, they've actually eye-framed me through the door, so I don't know what it is, but just make sure you run in that arc, and then they won't get you. Okay. I pop that lever, which opens the shortcut there. And then I Hunter's Mark out to reset the enemy patrol patterns. That's very important, because if I run back in there, there's wolves that aggro to me, and, it's dangerous. And also, this squid motherfucker who's patrolling is somewhere, So I just Hunter's Mark out to reset the patrol of the enemies. The wolves aren't down yet, or, no, sorry, they're not aggroed. And this guy, the squid face over here, the Cthulhu motherfucker, is facing away from you. So you get the Cosmic Eye Watcher's badge here. That's the entire reason we did all of this entire section. Was to get that. And basically what that does is when we're in possession of that, we can buy beast blood pellets, sedatives, poison knives, and blue elixirs from the well with insight. So it's really important for the blue elixirs mainly, but for other things as well. It's pretty important. I'm tired. It's a lot of talking, man. It's a lot of talking. These commentary runs are rough. Whew. Okay. What's up, chat? Front page again? Yeah, I'm on front page. I knocked you out. My voice is relaxing. Thanks, man. I'm gonna get a new audio setup soon, so you know. Hopefully it'll be good. Anyway, we get the blue elixirs here and some bolt paper. I think I bought like 2 or whatever. I think 2 is enough for now because you get some more later in the run. Bolt paper and beast blood pellets, you know. You want to... Oh, also, something I haven't explained is you want to keep your insight low. The lower your insight, the higher your beasthood, basically. So, in most scenarios, you want to spend your insight. You don't want to accrue it. In one boss in particular, the Witches of Hemwick, they will actually change if you have too much insight. Or even 1 insight, the fight becomes substantially harder. So, in most cases, you want to just, you know, spend insight. It helps you build your beast blood meter. It helps... I think it helps frenzy resist as well. The lower your insight is, the higher your frenzy resist. Like, there's lots of cool mechanics in BloodBorne that actually matter to the game and that matter to the runs as well. Okay, we're going to run to the One Reborn. It's a pretty straightforward run. But the One Reborn is also a very specific method. You can do this method blood level 4 as well. So it just heavily revolves around limb staggering. Thanks, Cloud Blue. What does insight do? Insight you can spend for items at the well, and it also has different effects on the game. It changes the way enemies behave, or yeah, certain enemies, how they behave. It changes the presence of certain enemies. It changes a lot of stuff. It's actually a really cool mechanic. And there's lore behind it as well, you know? Like, there's very heavy lore implications for insight. Yeah. And it's also used for the online co-op system as well as invading and stuff like that. There's a fuck ton of stuff that insight does. Okay, anyway. One Reborn. So I heal up to full, so I get the effect of my gem, which, you know, works under full HP. And then what you're going to do is you sprint straight here. So you want to have full endurance, you sprint straight here. If you sprint, he won't hit you. Up these stairs. And we skip the first enemy. I'll explain why we skip the first enemy in a sec. Everybody's like, oh, you missed one, you missed one. And it's like, no, that's on purpose. You do R1, L1. R1, L1 to kill these things. And the reason you do this instead of 2 R1s is the time involved. Because you have to time your circle around very specifically. Otherwise, the One Reborn in some cases will do some stupid shit. So I R1, L1 instead of R1, R1. Even though both can kill him. And then here I'll R1, R1 these last 2. Just for time. Because One Reborn will jump up, attack, and in some cases you'll have to iframe that, in some cases you won't. But now on the way back, you listen to the audio cues and you dodge the One Reborn spit. Okay? Or magic, whatever. I thought it was spit. And here you're gonna make sure, yeah, he doesn't spit again. So the reason I attack that one there is because if I do it earlier, the One Reborn could hit me, and I don't want that. Pop the Beast Blood pellet in the bolt paper, and he will transform. You have a small amount of time to stagger 1 limb. Okay, after you stagger 1 limb, you can hit once with an R1, and then stagger the next thing, which is the main body, and then the next limb, right? And then hit once again there. You gotta manage your stamina properly. And then stagger the second head, I guess. And then the next limb, you stagger. And then from there, you can kill him. And I think in total, just in that one combo, you do like 10,000, 11,000 damage. Very consistent method. You shouldn't get hit as long as you do R1, L1, L1, R1, R1, L1, L1, R1, R1, L1, L1. The limbs take 3 hits. Fuck, man, this song. The limbs take 3 hits, while the body takes 2 hits. Yeah, body takes 2 hits. Whew. Am I a little shy again? No, I'm tired, man. I am tired. What's the bar on the top of the screen? That was my beast blood meter. Okay. So I guess I'm taking a break here. I think I'm texting. You know. Pretty happily, apparently. So we'll skip past this part? No, we'll keep going, okay. But yeah, that's Yahar'gul. Yahar'gul is also a very hard section to execute. In some scenarios, things can go wrong. It's relatively consistent, but out of the consistent bits, it's probably the most inconsistent. Yahar'gul is a hard thing to do. It's a very hard section to do. And not only that, but it's long. You know, it's very long. So that split in itself is like 15, 20 minutes. It's ridiculous. After Yahar'gul, you get teleported to the Nightmare, or to the Lecture Hall, which is, lore-wise, the next boss coming up, his name was Micolash. These are all students. Basically, what they did is they were trying to create a great one, which is part of the lore, and they created the One Reborn, which isn't really a great one. It's like I don't know what the official term is, but I don't think it's quite a great one. But in doing so, I think they actually managed to commune with an actual great one, Mergo, and the last boss is Mergo's wet nurse. And so right now you're in the Nightmare realm, which is the realm of a great one, which is really cool. Bloodborne's lore is actually really, really, really cool. But you're in the Nightmare realm, which is you'll see all sorts of different weird things here, and it's, you know, it's substantially different from just the normal area or whatever, Yharnam. Okay, so you want to R2 this guy, and you want a visceral attack here. If you visceral attack him, he doesn't release worms. If you just kill him normally, he'll release worms, which are gross, by the way, and they can hit you. They're fast, reasonably. They're on the ground. It's hard to kill them, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah. Kill that Wandering Madness, get some more chunks. You don't need to light this lamp here, but I do put on a blue elixir. You will take frenzy damage here. This is unavoidable, okay? There's big mother brain up there. You take frenzy buildup, which will damage you every time it procs. It's not considered a hit. That was scary. Because it's unavoidable. There's no way to avoid it. Blue elixir, you run past those enemies. As long as you play it safe, which I didn't, it will be consistent. It'll be very consistent. These guys, you got to make sure that guy doesn't dunk you. He can do a jump attack. He usually throws a rock, but he didn't for some reason there. I get some more chunks. I think those are the last chunks I need to get to a +9. Wait for that guy to throw a rock so you don't run into him dunking you, because remember, again, you can't dodge while you're sprinting. Open this door and you should be safe. And this next section, this is easy. There's a little thing to the side that you can run through where you don't have to run through the spiders. So they shouldn't fall on you. These are disgusting, by the way. When I play this game, oh my god. For the first time, I hate spiders. And they're furry, too. This NPC, you can run in the pattern I run in the... Okay, so I'm going to wait here for a second. I'll explain why. I wait there for a second, make sure the spiders don't catch up to me. I sprint towards this guy, and I go to the left. That will dodge every single one of his attacks that he does. The reason I waited earlier was because that little guy, that little dwarf thing that you saw walking near the doorway, if I don't wait, he will be in the doorway, and you'll get stuck behind him. Just like that. There. Okay. Go here. There will be 2 more blue elixirs here, which I think is the rest you need for the any %. Whew. And you're going to pop one, and you're going to run past these guys. It's important to pop one here, because if you don't, there's a guy with a crossbow that is not in camera right now who will shoot you while you're on the elevator. He's right there. You can see him. He's right fucking there. So pop a blue elixir, otherwise he sees you, he aggroes, and you get hit, which means run over, which means back to Shadow's percent. Here is a slightly inconsistent drop. If you sprint straight from this tree, you will make it. And you don't want to do a plunging attack, so you want to land. Wow, that dog didn't die. You want to land, and then you want to attack with an R1, otherwise you might fall off and die or aggro or something, you know. But you get some gems there. This unlocks a shortcut, which I will use to go back to the Hunter's Dream, which I will use to upgrade my weapon. Here's my sternum. Upgrade my weapon, and also put in more gems before Micolash. And I think out of the any percent, Micolash is probably my favorite boss. Maybe Micolash, maybe Amelia, maybe Gascoigne, I'm not sure. But I like him. I think he's really cool. I don't particularly like fighting him, but I think he's really cool. You can't change the jump button in BloodBorne? No, it's on PS4. DS3, you have different buttons for jump? Yeah, but not in BloodBorne. Okay. But yeah, basically, if you get to this point in the run, you're almost guaranteed an any percent, because the rest of the run is very consistent. So I upgrade there. I spend my insight, as you know, is always recommended. Spend your insight. Buy some more blue elixirs, top off my blood pellets and my bolt paper. And I think I spend my souls as well. Yeah, I'm looking at the dolls up here. Spend my souls to get more skill. Again, I have 25 strength, and I'm pumping skill all the way to 50. So after your 25 strength, you're going to level skill all the way to 50 for this run. Oof. Need like a water break or something, man. Jesus. Oh. Man, oh man. Okay. So, Micolash is a very specific method with first phase RNG, and the first phase RNG can absolutely fuck you. It's actually a tricky fight in the first phase. Second phase is just, you know, a method, but the first phase is a little bit tricky. What you want to do here, I believe I popped bolt paper. But basically, you're going to run Micolash around until he gets into a room. And in running him around, you're going to kill puppets as you go. It's important to kill the puppets as you go, otherwise, you know, you'll just get a random hit somewhere here or there. First one you can skip, but the second one, I believe... No, I don't pop bolt paper. So you can hit them 3 times and they'll die, or you can do an R1, L1 with bolt paper and they'll die. I'm opting for no bolt paper this time. I don't know why. Maybe I decided it was better. But that guy you can skip too, because as he wakes up, you run away from him. Since that guy's down, he won't get back up for a while. Puppets will also get back up. That's the problem. They will also get back up, which is shitty. But yeah, that guy's down. So what you want to do here is you want to aggro Micolash, make sure he sees you, and then you want to run back so you don't fight him in that room, but you fight him in this hallway. That way you don't have to deal with 2 puppets in that room. Micolash loves fucking... Like, you see that? He loves doors. I don't know why he loves doors, but he will sit in a door and he will spam his Augur of Ebrietas, which he didn't do. It's risky. Okay, so you want to R1, L1, 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 wait for an Augur, R1, L1, or sorry, R1, 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 L1, wait for an Augur, and then R2. And that's really good. So that worked out really well. That's the method you want to go for, okay? That will put him as far past his first phase HP as you can possibly get with Beast Blood Meter. The tricky part about that first phase is if he moves weird and does weird things with his Augur, because he can point blank you with his Augur, and that just, you know, it'll kill you. That runs over, you know. it's tough in that regard. And he can move really awkwardly, sporadically. It's just not good. Anyway, run past these guys, pretty straightforward. This next part, okay. So, if you watch Squilla's run, Squilla actually wears him down with bullets and Molotovs and items and kills him that way. I do the speedrunner strat, which is a specific plunging attack into a charged R2, into an R1, L1, 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 and you'll kill him. This is the hardest part, the plunging attack, okay? So you have to face a certain way. So where I face is I face that corner. I center my camera on that corner, and then I roll. And then I roll into this door, because he won't hit you until you hit him twice. Until if he's in the room, he'll hit you. If he runs to the room, he'll hit you. But if he's stuck sprinting in that door, he will not hit you unless you hit him twice. So you take advantage of that fact. You do a charged R2, he will still not hit you, and then you can do R1, L1, 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 and kill him. As long as you did enough damage in the first phase, it should be fine. Okay, and you're safe because if you land in the right place, the puppets won't aggro, and that'll be good. Okay, that's a really good thing. Vic Bear, what's up, man? It's a really fun strat. Not so much in like it's like all over the place, but it's like really satisfying to execute. But the most important part is that jump. So you change your weapon into trick form, into the second form. You roll at a specific place so you don't hit the ledge, and you do a plunging attack so it hits him while he's in front of you. After the plunging attack, you roll in front of him to block him from entering that door. And if you block him from entering that door, you know, he just runs, and then you've got him basically. You got to make sure not to let him go through the door. If you fight him in that room, he has punch attacks, he has call beyond. It just becomes a very messy fight. Anyway, run past those guys. Blue elixir here. Run past that pig. You can fist him if you want. Get this blood gem. Run past these two pigs. These are dangerous. Run past these enemies, and then we get the last blood gem, and the blood rock as well. Sorry, I forgot about the music. Okay, this playlist isn't too long, so I apologize if the repeated tracks is bothering anyone. I hope it's not. Okay. So yeah, go down here. And so those sedatives I got earlier, I'm going to use them now, as well as the remaining blue elixirs. It's very important to have sedatives and blue elixirs for this part. I don't think you can do it without them. This jump is a little bit hard. I think someone told me, I think it was Sniper, he told me it's easier if you walk off. You have to pretty much wait until it looks like you're not gonna make it, and then you walk off, and you'll get into the little window. It's very easy to roll into the wall or walk into the wall and then fall and die there, which has happened before. So my frenzy is building. I'm popping sedatives. I've popped a blue elixir. I wait for that guy to be in a certain position. I run here. I get this blood gem, which is very important. It's 18%. And then I pop sedatives as I go, making sure I'm not in attack range. In some cases, you use all 5. In some cases, you only use 2. I only use 2 here, which is really nice. Yeah, pretty straightforward section if you get the method down. If you don't use that method, it gets messy because you're popping sedatives, they're chasing after you, they're attacking you, you know, you're getting stuck on things. It just becomes a mess. There's another Winter Lantern over there who will sometimes aggro you and can sometimes frenzy you as well, so you gotta be careful of that. Here I pick up the Wisdom. I skip that item there because it's just a blood gem that I don't need. It's an arcane blood gem. I get this Wisdom just in case I need more items, like blood pellets and stuff, because they're insight basically, right? So let's say I do a boss, I Hunter's Mark out like 10 times, and I'll just use those things for insight. Use the last bold Hunter's Mark that you get in any percent. You go and you level up, you put in your blood rock, and you are ready for Mergo. Okay? Now Mergo is a very relatively consistent boss. After we figured out how to consistently do a skip. Okay, and the person who figured this out is Uldred. I think this was understood before, but Uldred made it consistent. He made it very consistent. So the way the Mergo fight works is Mergo has a bunch of attacks. Mergo has a ton of fucking HP, like a shit ton of HP. Mergo has a bunch of different attacks. And Mergo has I think a 70% random phase transition. She can do it whenever she wants, or she can not do it at all. She can do it multiple times per fight. But it comes in the form of an attack, okay? She'll raise her hands above her, and like there'll be like a purple circle. And then from there, what will happen is the arena will go dark, and then she'll spawn clones of herself that will attack you, as well as she will be in the arena herself. When we didn't know how to skip this was a problem, because it adds RNG into the fight. You've got a small arena with a big boss, and you know, the boss can do, you know, combination attacks with its clones, and it becomes difficult. You know what I mean? It's still doable. It lasts 2 minutes, so it's scary. But you run around the arena and you just sprint every time a clone appears. Hope not to get hit, and that's how we used to do it. The way we do Mergo now is with that skip. So you'll see me do it. I believe I get the skip in this run. What you do is you lock onto Mergo, and Mergo will raise her hands above her head, and then the purple ring will appear, and then you dodge to the right twice, okay? Twice to the right, and in dodging to the right, twice to the right, you will dodge the attack, or you will dodge the nightmare phase. The nightmare phase will not activate. I don't know how it works. It must deal with a hitbox or something, but you iframe it basically. And then you just deal with normal Mergo, which is relatively easy, except for one thing, which I'll explain later. But again, Uldred figured out how to make that consistent, so I guess that should be called the Uldred skip. I don't know. Right. So yeah, here what you're going to do is you're going to go, and it's very important you position yourself at her like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You want to be behind her so that she jumps when you're close to her. If you're in front of her, she will in some cases instant lawnmower. And if she instant lawnmowers, you're going to get hit. In some cases, while you're behind her, she'll glitch. Okay, here's the skip. Raise her hands, purple, dodge right twice. No nightmare phase, right? Makes this fight a lot more consistent. A lot more consistent. But yeah, in some cases, she will still do instant lawnmower while you're behind her. She can be a little bit glitchy, but otherwise the fight is completely consistent. Very easy. Slow, because she has tons of HP. I think in some cases I've popped like 3 beast blood pellets during this, you know. Yeah. Make sure not to sprint here, because okay, weird thing there. She will do an attack where you have to dodge, not jump. Yeah, lawnmower is the worst part of this fight. That little like AoE blade attack, very difficult. The only other thing to notable in this fight is Mergo will also, if she gets off a nightmare phase, instead of jumping like she'll do now, she will sidestep and turn towards you after the nightmare phase, is what I've noticed. It's still deal withable, except it's a little bit more dangerous. Is really the only thing. Whew. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna just stop talking for the rest of the fight. I need a break from talking, but that's the any percent right there. That took us about a week to complete, from beginning routing to getting the run. I think the world's first 90% was by Zeus. I was a day after, and then Squilla was right after that. But it was all about Shadows RNG. And oh, K Witty got it, I think, somewhere around there too. I don't know where K Witty was. Yeah. The speedrunners did 90%. It was a relatively fast run. This was this 90% was really fast. It's the fastest 90% out of the Souls games. Oh man. Okay. So next we got the all bosses. And the all bosses are very, very, very consistent, except for the witches. Even the witches are consistent, actually. It's just, they're hard to execute. The all bosses go all the way to Moon Presence, which are the original bosses of the main game, not including DLC. All of them are very, very, very consistent, except for Moon Presence. And also Logarius. Logarius can glitch on you, and Moon Presence can, like, somehow, in some cases, like, hide its hitbox or not let you visceral it. It's a tough fight, but I'll explain it as we go. Yeah, should I explain Moon? No, I'll explain Moon Presence during the fight. It's a lot of explaining, but I'll explain it during the fight. Okay, so here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go back to the lecture hall, and from here it's very important that you sprint straight. If you don't sprint, this guy can hit you. So you need to sprint all the way. Make sure you manage your stamina, endurance. And here's Patches. Okay, you can kill Patches if you want. It's a little bit dangerous because I don't think you kill him in one hit. But he will give you the anti-clockwise metamorphosis Carol Rune, and we haven't used Carol Runes in this run so far because in order to use Carol Runes, you need to get a tool, and that tool is acquired after the Witches of Hemwick. Since the Witches split is actually a very hard split, we save that for later because we aren't well equipped to do it in the any percent. We save it for the all bosses. It's an optional fight, you know. There's no reason to do it in any percent. But yeah. Sorry, let me minimize chat again. Thanks, by the way, all the mods and stuff for handling questions and stuff, because I'm not looking at chat right now. This is a consistent run. This is very easy. K-Witty actually showed me this method. You run past the first guy, you pop a blue elixir up here, and then you just drop down. It saves you from going all the way around. It's really nice. You gotta walk through this poison swamp, you get poisoned, it's fine. Environmental damage, not from an enemy, does not count as a hit in no-hit runs. And since this isn't a no-damage run, it's completely fine. I believe no damage is impossible in BloodBorne, just because you have to take mandatory fall damage on the way to Vicar Amelia. And also the frenzy damage in the Nightmare of Mensis is unavoidable. I believe it is. But anyway, pop an antidote, drop down here. Pretty straightforward. I got a sub. And, you know, deal with this Winter Lantern. Oh, actually, no, this Wandering Madness. Okay, this is a big chunky mother. And for some reason, he'll aggro half the time and he won't half the other time. He's actually really dangerous because he can spit at you, okay? He can straight up spit at you. You want him to de-aggro and disappear like he did there. Or you just want to kill him, but you have to approach him very carefully. Anyway, approach him carefully. Avoid the Winter Lantern up there. Drop down. You should not get frenzied. You can be really safe and equip some sedatives if you really want. Which is, you know, sometimes advisable, whatever. Amygdala is known, I think, as a decently hard boss. In this run, we don't use the speedrunner method. Speedrunner method is a little bit inconsistent sometimes. So I use a method that I came up with. You're going to pop your Beast Blood pellet, your bolt paper, you're going to run up, you're going to stop right at that, like, stick in the ground, and then you're going to move forward, you're going to R2, it's not going to do any damage, you're going to R2 again, right, that's going to do damage, and then you're going to Visceral. After you Visceral, you're going to switch to Trick Form, and you're going to attack the arms. That arm in particular will stagger, okay? The arms, because the arms take damage, the legs do not take very much damage. So it's very important, and you will kill Amygdala before she, I think, has a chance to do anything. Very important. Okay, so you kill Amygdala. In some cases, she can be glitchy, I think. Like, sometimes her arms don't take a lot of damage, and sometimes, I don't know, the frames drop just a shit ton. Like, you get a huge frame drop in that fight. But yeah, Amygdala is done. Pretty easy. And it's a very consistent strat as well. I think Squilla does that differently. I think he does like running R2s. I haven't seen how Donnie does it yet. I think Donnie's the only other one doing the all bosses. The runners of this game, yeah. Me, Squillakilla, Zeus, Kwitty, Donnie, Jax. There's quite a few people that did the any percent. I think there was a few more people. The only people that did the all bosses, or who attempted the all bosses, I think were me, Squilla, and Donnie. Donnie's still doing it right now. And the only people who did the DLC is me and Squilla. Not many no-hit runners for this game in particular. There was way more for... Oh, Dopamine. Dopamine also did this run, I think. I believe. I'm not sure. I think so, yeah. The any percent was over really fast. Anyway. Cleric Beast. So I said earlier in the run that we don't kill him at the beginning, because he can be shitty to deal with unless you have a lot of damage, right? We have a lot of damage now, so we eviscerate him. The split is named hardest boss as a joke. He's not actually the hardest boss. I don't think we've ever lost, or anyone's ever lost a run to Cleric Beast. But basically, it's just running backwards. So the reason I run back from the Cathedral Ward lamp, as opposed to running forward from the other lamp, the lamp at the start of the game, the sick room lamp, is because this is safer. Much safer than running forward. There's guns and all of that stuff forward. They will always do that, so that's safe to run past. Just less risk. And these next two splits, the hardest boss, or the Cleric Beast split and the Witch's split, they are probably the most tedious splits of the all bosses. There's a lot of running to do, a lot of like non-fighting, just dodging and poison and stuff and waiting and stuff. So like the all bosses, while it's consistent, there is a little bit of tediosity to it. Right after the witches is a boss rush, pretty much, with Cainhurst in between it. Oh yeah, so you run here, kill these guys just to be safe. Get some more cocktails. Oh my god, Ophelia, thank you for the host. Go follow up Ophelia, everybody. This guy, I shoot him. Just no risk. He has a quick attack with his gun. A very quick attack with his gun. Sorry, with his torch. So I've lost a run to him before. I just decided I didn't want to lose any more runs, so I just shoot him to take no risks. And then the reason I come up here is because after the Blood Moon, an enemy spawns, a beast-type enemy spawns right near that lamp, and that beast-type enemy, if you kill him, you get a Claw Mark rune. And what that Claw Mark rune does is it increases your visceral attack damage by 25%. And that's really important. It's very important for the quick kill method for Martyr Logarius, aka Glitch Santa. It's very important for Moon Presence. It's very important for all the bosses Martyr Logarius on. In fact, I think other than Laurence. Yeah, I think other than Laurence. So again, to take no risks, I kill him through the grate. Instead of opening the door and killing him there, or teleporting the lamp and killing him there, I kill him through the gate, pick up the Claw Mark rune, and then we're off on our way to Cleric Beast. Yeah. Cleric Beast, you don't need the buff. I think you can, and he'll die even faster. Run past that guy. That guy should never hit you. He's turning around. Enemies that turn around, they have a turnaround animation. They can't attack during it. Won't hit you. So in a lot of cases, if you approach an enemy from behind, they will have to wait to turn around before they hit you. Okay, so Cleric Beast will come down. You're going to do an R1, L1, 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 R1, I believe. You break the limbs as you go. So if you want, you can aim. I missed the leg there. There, see, I hit the leg. So if you saw, I hit the arm, the leg, the body, and then the leg. Same limb stagger mechanics apply for Cleric Beast. But yeah, that's why we do them now in the all bosses run as opposed to on the any percent run. There's literally no fucking reason to do him on the any percent run. Doesn't make sense. It makes the run a lot harder. It will result in a lot more resets. You don't need the souls. There's no benefit to doing it. So you just do it as a cleanup portion there. And then from here, we're on the Witch's Split. But before we do the Witch's Split, we have a little bit of cleanup to do still. I want to go and get the Cainhurst summons so I can go to Castle Cainhurst later. I do this before the Witch's Split because, well, the trigger for Castle Cainhurst is in the Witch's Split. So we have to go back to the forest. Ooh. There's a lot to explain this in this run, man. There's a fuck ton to explain. Jesus. Oh. But anyway, you go to Cainhurst, or sorry, you go to the forest. Everything's consistent to avoid pretty easily. There's one thing that we really kind of have to worry about, but not really. Again, that guy has a turnaround animation, so it's safe to attack him. Wait for a gunshot here. You don't want to get point blanked on a small bridge. Kill this guy. Run here. And to be extra safe, if you remember, the first time through, I didn't use a cocktail. The first time through, I just used this rock. Oh, I guess I'm just going to use this rock again instead of using the cocktail. Yeah. You just run around the rock so he can't attack you. Because if you run beside him, it's very easy for him to attack you. That wolf enemy has some pretty dangerous attacks. Yeah. Instead of going through the Molotov River like we did before, we're going to take a detour. Yeah, we're going to take a detour. So, you got to kill these dogs, because if you don't kill these dogs, they'll be released, or it's dangerous, or whatever. I don't know if you actually have to kill these dogs. You might have to. They give you souls regardless, so why not? And they're in cages, they don't attack you, might as well. But you run up here, and this will get you to a poison swamp, okay? And this poison swamp, again, the route you go through is also important. Because there are worms in the water, and those giant type enemies are actually really fast, and they can jump really far. They have a lot of range on them. But if you run in that straight line through that lake, you will never get hit. As long as you sprint it. Pop an antidote so you don't take poison damage and die on this ladder. This ladder's really, 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 really long, really big. So if you don't cure your poison, you get to really low health. It's sketchy and it's a little bit dangerous, you know. So you might as well. Okay. I'm reading chat again. Hi, guys. Is he really quiet? Am I quiet? Guys, is the music too loud? Fuck this song. Can I delete that off the playlist? No and no. Now you're fine. Okay. Okay, this enemy right here, this squid face, he doesn't have magic, so he's more safe. He sprints really fast, so when he's scary, he has very sporadic attacks. So I play it safe by luring him around these pillars. In some cases, he can still hit you. Some cases, but you can... Oh, shit, he's sprinting. In most... Like, he did 3 sprints there. In most cases, you can sprint past him, run up the ladder. But in some cases, he will actually attack you on the ladder, so I play that extra safe. I deeply fear for your vocal cords, huh? I blew elixir with this guy. He is sketchy, man. Yeah, he's sketchy. I think that's one of the enemies that change if you have insight. Like, I think he becomes more powerful if you have more insight. But yeah, okay, so we run up here, and we kill Yusufka, or Ayaska, I don't know how to say her name, the haughty. You want to kill her after the blood moon, because if you try and attack her before the blood moon, or even come within proximity of her before the blood moon, she attacks you, and she will kill you, and she's very hard to kill. The lore behind her is she's the false Yusufka. The real Yusufka, I believe you see coming up, is turned into like one of these alien things, one of these kin things, you know? It's kind of fucked up, to be honest. Like, the BloodBorne lore is pretty fucking cool, but it's also kind of fucked up. So yeah. Oh no, sorry, I have 15 insight here. I guess that one just doesn't do anything. But maybe if he sucks your insight, then you sucks your insight. Hey. Then he gets the spells. I don't know. You get the Cainhurst summons there. You can kill that alien for Yuska's Vial. Ayaska's Vial. Open the store. You go back. We are ready for the Witch's Split. So you'll notice I have 15 insight here. Okay? This is where insight comes into play. You don't want any insight at all for the Witch's Split. I believe if you have insight, the area gets harder because summoned enemies appear. This area changes depending on the amount of insight you have. I believe it's between 1 and 14 is different, and 15 plus is different. So what we do here is we upgrade. By upgrade, I'm lying. We don't upgrade. I don't know why I went to the upgrade thing. We spend our insight. You need 9 blue elixirs. 9 blue elixirs for this split. It's a ton, and this is why we don't do this earlier. People ask, why don't you get your shards earlier, your twin blood shards, etc. It's because of you know, because of all the blue elixirs you need for this split. Okay, so you're gonna go to Cathedral Ward. You're gonna run all the way back to Vicar Amelia. Should be safe if you do it in the right way. And then the run to witches is a little bit tricky. It's not that tricky. There's a method for it, because right before the witches split there's like 10 guys with guns, and then there's dogs and stuff. But as long as you use blue elixirs and pungent cocktails and walk in a certain way, it's very consistent. That was close. You have to really... You can't get too close to those guys to light you. But yeah. Okay, I'm reading chat again, kind of. Whew. We still have so much explaining to do, guys. Something I messed up on the Witch's Split. You can link it, Donnie. Okay, I picked up some Hunter's Marks there. That's important. We need Hunter's Marks for the run later. You can buy them as well, but you can just pick them up there, and it's pretty much fine. Okay, so here I pop a blue elixir. I run. I believe... Yeah, you don't need to throw a cocktail there. You need to kill this guy coming up here. And then you're going to make like an angled turn and kill that guy with a gun hiding up here. Because he will see you, even with a blue elixir, and he'll shoot you in some cases. You're going to throw a pungent cocktail. This is the only hard part of this, is you got to kill these dogs while they're being sporadic and attacking weird. So I missed both of them, and then I missed that guy. So I decided to throw another cocktail, and then things became a little bit easier. Yeah. You have a lot of insight, so you can throw as many cocktails as you want at this point. No need to skimp on them, no need to save them. If you run out of insight, you have Madman's Wisdom, etc. You know, it's completely fine. But yeah, we are in Hemwick Charter Lane with 0 insight, and this is a very, it doesn't seem like a specific path, but it's a very specific path, okay? All of these enemies, these witch enemies, they have quick attacks, which means if you run past them while they're not turning like that chick was, they will instant attack you and you will get hit. It's terrible, so you got to make a wide berth when you're approaching them. That guy will turn because you have a blue elixir. That's a scripted run up, but you got to be fast. He has a semi-quick attack as well. Okay, I believe our front page time had just ended. Anyway, pop that blue elixir there, pop another one here. That lady should be chasing you. They're persistent in their aggro. And then here you're going to run to the right so you don't get hit by a Molotov. Run to the left so you don't get hit by the dog. And then you're going to sprint up the stairs and then this ladder. You have to be very, very particular with your endurance management. You have to be very particular with your endurance management. Otherwise, you will get hit in the back as you climb up the ladder. Okay, wait for your blue elixir to wear off. Use another one here. Wide berth so you don't get quick attacked by that hammer chick. run up here along the roof. Again, wide berth for that chick. And you should be fine. It's consistent as long as you execute it properly within the right time span and the right movements. You're going to open up this shortcut for later. It's important because we have to run back through this place. Magic sauce. And then you're going to run up here. Your elixir will wear off, but you avoid the executioner enemies. You're going to hide in this little alcove. There's an executioner enemy that comes up behind you. He will not see you if you're up here. And there are witches that are in front of you that will not see you if you're up here, okay? This is a hard section. This was the hardest section to figure out for these splits, in my opinion. What you're going to do is you're going to wait for a very specific moment. Pop the blue elixir. I forgot Hunter's Mark. And then you're going to run, or you're going to walk, and then you're going to run along the outer edge. And there's a very, like that little bit of edge right there is very important. You need to run in there, otherwise you will get quick attacked. Okay, here, run up, trigger the boss fight. You're going to Hunter's Mark out. The reason you Hunter's Mark out is because as soon as you go into the boss area, you gain 1 insight. You gain insight in a variety of different ways. You gain insight by killing bosses. You also get insight by discovering new areas, as well as discovering new bosses. So for the Witches of Hemwick, the way they work is based on the amount of insight you have, the fight changes. Since Hemwick Charnel Lane is consistent, doesn't have RNG, as long as you execute it properly, we are going to go back to this place, the Hunter's Dream, so we can spend our insight that we got during that fight, so that we can go back to the fight without any insight and do it normally, right? It's the safest way to do the fight, and all in all, the witches are not a very safe fight. They're easy, but for a no-hit, they're not safe, you know? They're not at all. Whew, man. By the way, thanks all the front pagers for hanging around after my front page time. I hope you're enjoying the commentary. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna run through this place again. Exact same method, except we can use a shortcut. You know, you'll notice I'm doing the exact same movements. I'm not running sporadically. Same stamina management. Everything is very particular in how I'm moving. Very, 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 very particular in how I'm moving. And this is why we unlocked the shortcut earlier, so we don't have to go through that section again. Exact same thing. You're going to run up here, and you're going to run past the ladies in the exact same way at the exact same time. It doesn't seem very difficult or very precise, but it really, 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 really is. Oh, man. Oh. I'm tired. Anyway, I will, oh, man. Oh. I'll explain the witches fight. So the witches aren't regarded as very difficult. They're not. But they actually are a little bit difficult. Basically, what you can do is you can chain backstabs, which I do if you execute it properly. What you have to watch out from the witches is they have an instant attack, an AoE instant attack. So you kind of have to bait it out or bait out an attack. Not on the first one. This is always scripted. You will always get that. Wait, chain that, you'll get that. You can visceral attack, and she'll do a funny animation when she dies, which is just because she dies that way. And then, so the second one, you have to watch for projectiles, right? And then here, what I do is I think I bait out. Yeah, I try and bait out an attack. No, okay, I don't need to apparently. Same method, visceral attack, GG. Since I have very low insight and I did things a certain way, we don't have to kill like 3 or 4 witches. We just kill 2, which is nice. And that's the witches. It doesn't seem hard, but there's a little bit more to it than there seems. You get the Rune Workshop tool from that dead guy in the back, which allows us to get Carol runes. So the runes that we've been picking up during the run, they come into use now. I think the runes I use are the Beast rune, which improves your beasthood, or the rate of beasthood, or something. It does something in terms of beasthood. It's good to have. The anti-clockwise metamorphosis, which I believe gives you 15% more stamina, which gives you an extra attack. And I get, what's the last one? The visceral attack, the claw mark. I get the claw mark rune, the visceral attack rune. Did I forget? I hope to God, I really hope to God I don't forget my runes here, because I need them. You can do it without it, but it's a little bit scarier. Do I really? No, do it. I do. I do, man. I fucking forget. I wonder if I go back. Do I go back? I don't go back. Okay. The runes aren't super important for the Celestial Emissary or Ebrietas, but I better fucking get the runes before Martyr Logarius. I better. So I completely forgot to put them on here. Not too big of a deal for these next 2 bosses, but for the next bosses after that, they're very important. Okay. Celestial Emissary. Mushroom Congress. This fight is a little bit tough for no hit because there's a lot of them, but we developed a method to do it fairly consistently, no problem. Okay? So the way this fight works is the first phase, there will be a bunch of little aliens. One of the aliens is the Celestial Emissary. That's the one you have to hit. The other aliens are just fodder and will keep respawning over and over and over and over again. They have quick attacks, and they're annoying. So what I do is I lure them up, away from the Celestial Emissary. And the way the fight works, 2 enemies will always stay with the Celestial Emissary. Those 2 right there, you see them? I don't know why, but they do. But I lure the rest up, so I don't have to deal with these guys. I'm going to lure them as far up as I can. I'm going to pop the bolt paper and the beast blood pellet. Then I'm going to drop down. They won't follow me this way. They'll run all the way back around. And I'll kill these 2 with R1, 2 R1s or an R1L1. Yeah, just 2 R1s. And then I hit him once. I hit him twice, 3 times to put him into a second phase. I run behind him and I do a visceral attack, or sorry, I charge R2 while he's transforming. That will cancel his phase 2 animation, and it'll allow you to kill him before his phase 2. Alternatively, you can kill him in his phase 2 after he transforms, but it's a little bit riskier. I personally like that method. You can miss the backstab because his back is so small, but as long as you practice it, it's fine. I think his health threshold for phase 2 is 1100. I think it's 1100. That's what you have to get him to. Okay, Ebrietas. This method I came up with myself. It's not the speedrunner method. Squilla uses a different method. I don't know what method Donnie uses. It's a little bit tricky to execute, but it's safer than the old method that we used. So this again takes heavy advantage of limb staggering and phase 2 mechanics. So Ebrietas starts and she won't react. You hit her with an R1 and L1 into the arm and she'll get up. Right from here, you wait until she's active and you'll break her arm. And then you'll R1, L1, L1, her other arm, and then you'll attack her head 3 times. Right? And then you'll do a charged R2, which I believe didn't hit. Visceral attack. This is a terrible fight. And then from there, she'll go into a phase 2 transition. You can do another R2 on her broken head, which will do double damage with Beast Blood Meter. Almost kill her, then pump out another attack. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to go R1, L1 on the first arm, hit her arm 1 more time once her hitbox and HP become active, which is when she starts moving, which will stagger her, break her, or hit her once in the head, break her other arm, hit her twice in the head, R2 the head, visceral attack the head, R2 the head, dead. That's how Ebrietas works. That one, I think I missed 1 attack on the head, so it didn't look as clean. But it's relatively risky. Using that method, she shouldn't ever hit you, but again, very specific. I get my 50 skill here. I stop leveling skill after 50 skill. After 50 skill, I have enough visceral damage where it's more productive to level strength rather than, you know, it's more productive to get to like 40 strength rather than 65 skill, if that makes sense. The returns are a lot better. Spend my insight, get my blue elixirs, etc., and we're going back to Hemwick Charnel Lane so that we can get to Castle Cainhurst. You know? Oh, still no runes. Wow, I still didn't get the runes. Can you, that's ridiculous. That's actually ridiculous. I might go back. If I don't go back, fucking, I need to get runes before. Like, I can get away on Glitch Santa with no runes, but on Logarius, but I can't. Not for Gherman and not for Moon Presence. I better fucking get the runes, man. They're very important. They're very important. Oh, shit. Anyway, I run back up here because it's more consistent than running back past those 3 witches. I just go up here, the same thing, so I can queue another thing. What is it about? There's nothing really in Cainhurst. Cainhurst is pretty straightforward. You jump and use a speedrunner skip, basically, but other than that, it's fairly straightforward. The tick enemies are disgusting, gross, and scary. But the hard parts of this part of the split, the hard part of the split is the boss. Okay, Logarius is actually very glitchy. That's why he's called Glitch Santa in this run. He's killed several runs before. He's also annoying, just in the way he moves and does things. He has instant attacks. So we fight him in a very specific way. Or at least I fight him in a very specific way, just to avoid as many glitches as you can. The worst glitch from him is probably where he skips his phase 2 transition. He goes straight into phase 2 and he gets super fast and really hard to deal with. He doesn't even give you time to Hunter's Mark out, and he can surprise you with an instant hit just because he didn't, you know, show his second phase transition. And that could be anything from doing too much HP damage to him getting stuck on terrain to him being in a certain space when he is near phase 2. It's difficult. But yeah, in order to deal with that, I kill him in a specific way. I think I deal exactly 2,600 points of damage to him. And the way I do that is I go unbuffed with Beast Blood and unbuffed with Fire Paper, because Logarius is weak to fire. I don't do any counter hits, because this game has counter hits too. A counter hit is when a boss attacks. There's a certain window after his attack where if you attack him, you will do more damage to him, right? I don't want that, because I want consistent damage. So I don't do counter damage. And another thing to note, this is something I found out, but apparently if you have Fire Paper on, you will have a higher chance to do counter damage. You will have a bigger window to do counter damage. So it's important not to use Fire Paper for the first phase. There's a skip. But yeah, you get him to 2,500 health, 2,600 health down. No more than that, no less. And then I think you do one more R1, L1. And then from there, you do a charged, or sorry, then he does his second, he starts going into his second phase. And you do an R1, L1, L1. And then you go behind him, do a visceral attack. With the runes, he should die. Without the runes, he will have 1 hit of health left. So you gotta hit him as he gets up. And it's a pretty tight timing. It's a pretty tight timing. Oh. You don't kill that dark guy? Yeah, Donnie. If you run in a specific pattern with the blue elixir, you can avoid that dark guy completely. Completely. man. Yeah, Dark Guy's really tough. Even if he aggros, you can run in zigzag lines and you can avoid him. No problem. Anyway, get the Bold Hunter's Marks there. Free Bold Hunter's Marks, why not? You need them for later in the run. And then, from here, so here's the thing. I'll have Fire Paper and I'll have a Beast Blood Pellet. I'll put my HP to full. There's no real reason to do so. 25 Strength and 50 Skill. 50 Skill is very important. Oh man, I realize it, do I? I do realize it. I do. So I'm going to go back and get the runes because I forgot them. So I'm just going to go and get the runes. So yeah, this section is just me getting runes, spending insight. Let's see. I'll show you which runes I get. Anti-clockwise Metamorphosis, Claw Mark, and Beast. And then we run the exact same way through Cainhurst. Except, yeah, the exact same way. I do get them. Okay, good. Oh, okay. Okay, so I have everything I need. I have my runes, I have my Fire Paper, I have my Beast Blood Pellet. What you want to do here is you want to wait for a specific attack on Martyr Logarius in his first phase to attack him, okay? It's that one. It's where he does this shit. You have to iframe through that. You don't want to do this because you're very likely to get counter damage, right? And that thing is a bitch to avoid. So you want to be close to him, not sprinting. Iframe through the things, and then do an L1, which is a transition attack. It's a dodge transition attack. I think you do 5 of those, if I remember. Yeah, iframe, L1. You can't see, but I'm doing roughly 560 damage or something like that. 500 and something, 516. You want to do 5 of those. That's 3. Oh, and also immediately after you do it, you want to dodge back. I don't know why I attacked there, but I don't think it did counter damage. That's 4. And this is 5. So he's still in phase 1. He's not pushed over the limit yet. I'm going to run away because he actually has a shit ton of range on his attacks. Pop the paper, pop the Beast Blood Pellet, and I'm going to wait for that attack. I'm going to make sure that there's no walls behind him and that he isn't on a slant behind him. Because, again, glitchy, right? So I want him to be horizontal, like on horizontal land. And I want his back not to be against the wall. So that's bad. I don't want to fight him there. Oh, okay. I turned him enough so that he's going to be on horizontal land. R1, L1, L1. Charge attack on his back. Visceral attack. And he's dead. Okay. Skips his second phase entirely. Pretty precise. But hard fight in itself. Very hard fight in itself. But that method is consistent. I've done that consistently over and over and over without glitches. It's just a little bit hard to execute, you know? Tiny bit difficult to execute. Okay, so now we're coming to the all bosses. Now we're coming to Gherman and Moon Presence. Gherman and Moon Presence are the hardest bosses of the run up to this point. They're very specific, especially Moon Presence. Here I get more strength. I pop the milk cords. I spend my insight. Easy, right? But I'll explain Gherman first, okay? So Gherman has 3 phases. His first phase is the scythe phase. His second phase, he can switch between his one-handed gun and one-handed, like, trick weapon, and his scythe phase he can switch between. And in that phase, in the second phase, he shoots his gun, and he's a lot more volatile. He's harder to parry, he's harder to hit, he's easier to get hit by. So what I like to try and do is skip that phase. However, you can't consistently do it, right? So what I do in the first phase of Gherman is I will no Beast Blood, no Bolt Paper, parry him. So I will parry him, Visceral Attack, parry him, dodge in, L1, and then he will be on the cusp of his health, okay? And then I'll parry him one more time after I pop the Beast Blood and so on, and Visceral Attack him. That'll push him into his second phase, and then depending on your proximity to him, and if you manage to bait out the attack, and depending on which attack it is, you can parry him one more time and Visceral Attack him to push him into his third phase. And if you have enough Beast Blood meter, his third phase transition, if you time it correctly, you can actually kill him before he gets any attacks off. That is a perfect Gherman fight. However, it's hard. It's RNG based. In most cases, after you parry him the second time, he will not do the attack you need, and you will have to fight the second phase, which means you'll have to pop another Beast Blood pellet, which means you'll have to have a longer fight. So there's the parry, visceral parry L1. I'm playing it safe here. You really, 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 you know, want to... You can parry pretty much every one of his attacks, but again, you're this far in the run, you want to play it. You want to play it safe, you know, very safe. Also, you have to worry about terrain. You don't want to visceral him going up a hill or anything. It doesn't seem like it, but the slope, the elevation and stuff actually do matter in terms of what you're doing. Oh, sorry. No, I was supposed to pop the bolt, Beast Blood and the bolt paper at the beginning. I was waiting for it to run out there so I could repop it before his second phase transition. Good music, huh? So again, we're going to wait for an attack. The slow attack, the wind-up attack. This is the attack. The wind-up attack is what we want after we visceral him as well. Okay. So there's the visceral. And then I'm going to walk towards him. Or, yeah, so we didn't get it. Okay. We didn't get the wind-up attack, which means he goes into phase 2, which means he's harder to fight now. I believe Squilla fights this phase with items. I prefer to just fight him normally. What you'll do in this phase is you will dodge into him. You have to space. Your spacing is very important here. You don't want to be too close because he'll hit you with a quick attack, but you have to be far enough away where he doesn't hit you with a quick attack. He doesn't hit you with a quick attack where you space the first attack. But you don't want to be too far because then the gunshot spread is too big and it's very hard to dodge. So right here, I'm borderline too far. Okay, you want him to roll into you like that, dodge, and then you can get him into a constant loop of turning animation, right? If you do this properly. He has a peg leg. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that's what I'm trying to do here. Otherwise, he's way too dangerous there. Okay, so if he jumps back, that's not good. You'll see it if I manage to get it. That was close, by the way. There. Okay, see how he turns? If you keep rotating around him, and he'll turn a lot sometimes. It's RNG based, but it's that was fucked up, by the way. What he did there, he got stuck on terrain and you know, delayed his attack, which happens sometimes in Souls. Okay, I back up the rebuff. Trying to get him into nice terrain. Dodge into that. Get the turns, nice. That's phase 2 transition. So you can attack him like 5 or 6 times there. And that's a very, 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 very specific timing for that charge R2. But you get a visceral attack. If you did it properly, he will do this, and you can kill him. Right? If you get that visceral attack is very important. Very, very, very important. But the timing for it is very slim. Right? Basically, I start my charge R2 as the scream is ending. Okay, Moon Presence. This is the hardest fight. This relies heavily on limb staggering, okay? So Moon Presence has an attack, an AoE attack that is undodgeable, okay? It is completely fucking undodgeable. 100%. There's no way to dodge it. If it goes off, it goes off. The run is over. You know, you got hit. That is considered a hit. The way we deal with this attack is we kill him before he uses it. In order to do that, we have to set him up. So what we do is we simultaneously get him to just on the cusp of his phase 2 transition, which happens to be when he uses that instant AoE attack, while getting each one of his limbs on the cusp of breaking. Okay, so if you're paying attention, I hit him once, or sorry, I hit him 3 times in the left arm, in his left arm, right from my perspective. 2 times in the head, 1 time in the body. Okay? After that, I wait for the proper position and the proper attack. He has to be on level ground. He can't be on horizontal ground, or sorry, sloped ground. Otherwise, you might miss your visceral attack or the attack in general. So I wait until he's in the proper position with the proper attack, with the proper HP. I pop my pellets and stuff, and then I break his arm. And in breaking his arm, it staggers him. I do a few more attacks while he's staggering. I think it's 2. And in those attacks, maybe 3, I hit his head. After I hit his head, I hit him 1 more time or 2 more times, whatever, I don't remember. And then I visceral him. After the visceral, you kill him before he pops into his phase 2 transition. It's very, very hard to pull off. Okay, so that's enough hits on the arms. Was that 3 or 4? It might be 4, actually. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'll have to look back. But now we're waiting for a jump attack or a tail swish attack on level ground, which is decently hard to accomplish. There we go. Okay, we got it. Am I going to go for it? I am. Hit him there with a L1, L1 again. So R1, L1, 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 L1. Visceral attack in the head. After you break the head, and he's dead. Okay, dead moon presence, no AoE attack, no hits taken. That's the all bosses no hit run without DLC. I hunter's mark at a specific point here so that I don't trigger the ending cutscene. Okay, it's very important. I don't want to trigger the ending cutscene because then I can't do the DLC, right? So I hunter's mark after I get the souls after he's dead so I can continue on to do the DLC. But yeah, that's what it was. When he's set up, it's R1, L1, L1, L1. The first R1 in the hand, the second L1, so the third attack overall, into the head, and then you attack him once more with an L1 while he's being visceral or staggered, and then from there you do a visceral and you kill him. Okay, very hard to pull off. Very, very, very hard to pull off. There's a lot of problems with that fight. He can fuck you up in a lot of different ways, with the arena and with just with different things he does, man. Just with different things. But now we're onto the DLC, and actually, the DLC is considered the hardest content of all Souls games. The hardest content of all Souls games. It's incredibly hard, and considering its difficulty, it took us like a week or so to finish this after we did the all bosses. It took us like a month to do the all bosses, but after we got the all bosses, it was like a week to do this. During and after your Screech Placenta fight, you want to? Oh man. Oh man. Anyway, I buy more elixirs, more cocktails, more bolt paper, more beast blood pellet, more fire paper. I get the Eye of the Blood Drunk Hunter, and then I get ready to go into the DLC. Okay, get ready to go into the DLC. I have my runes already. I read the chat in the game. And they're like, runes? And I was like, no, I got runes. I was telling them to remind me about the runes, because I always forgot, but apparently I already had it. Okay. You guys want to watch the no-hit run with no commentary? We'll see. Give me some 1-1s if you want me to commentate over the last fight. Give me some 2-2s if you want to see the last fight without commentary. Anyway, you go to the DLC, you take a scripted hit, you have to take damage here to go into the DLC. You get caught by the amygdala, he frenzies you, and you get ported to the DLC. You cannot avoid this hit, so it's how it goes. Commentated it, okay, alright. Thank you guys. By the way, thank you for the subs, everybody who subbed. Appreciate it, I do. I'm sorry I can't give attention to it right now. Okay, anyway. This DLC is a very specific section as well.
There's a lot to avoid here, but it's consistent in execution, as is most of the run. You're gonna pop a elixir at this lamp, and you're going to you're gonna run all the way. You're gonna sprint it. Should not get hit. You're gonna stop sprinting here. You're gonna wait for the dog to come up to you. He will come up to you. He won't attack you. You can kill him as he stands in front of you, trying to aggro you. Right. Then run up here. Avoid that guy to the left. Then you're gonna make an arc so you avoid a jumping attack from that guy on the left. Avoid the boulder. Run up here. Stop here. Wait for the bell sound and then sprint forward. That's a very important audio cue. Okay. And as long as you do that, you will make it past that big mofo and those two small mofos 100% of the time. You pick up this item for, I believe, Laurence later. So you can do the Laurence, yeah, the eye pendant. Yeah, you need that to go up the elevator. Yeah, you need that. Never mind, it's not for Laurence. Man, Dibs just whispered Fat Princess is a bitch. Did you see that in the chat? That's fucked up. Anyway, yeah, you can run around this guy. I think I choose to visceral him. He's tanky as fuck, and he's scary, so you don't want to fight him. But you can kill him with a visceral and another R2. Or just a visceral, I guess. Which I guess is a little bit safer. Tiny bit safer, yeah. I'm tired, guys. I'm fucking tired. I'm tired. Okay, this is a specific motion. It's not that hard. Run to the left, avoid the first gunshots. Run again to the left, avoid the second gunshots. You can break this safely. Lure this guy out. Since he's not on the button, those guns won't shoot anymore. And then, you know, he runs around the rock, whatever. Sprint past that guy. He won't do anything. And then you're going to stand here for like a total of 5 seconds. Look up there, make sure no one's following you. Sometimes they follow you all the way down. They'll attack you while you're not looking. Pop the blue elixir. Run past these guys as they turn. They won't be able to hit you. I think most of them just throw time Molotovs anyway. Okay. Now you're not going to run past these things. You're going to run up the stairs. That's important. You want full stamina at the bottom of the stairs so you don't get shot by that bullet there. You're going to drop down over them, and you're going to kill this tick thing. I think it's a tick. Because if you just run past it, it has a chance to shoot you in the back with spit, which is terrible. Throw in a cocktail for this dog right here. Try and shoot it. If you shoot dogs in this game, they fall over like that. Okay, that wasn't very well done. The cocktail ran out. That was sketchy as fuck. You want to throw a second cocktail in that case, I think. Yeah, I believe. Okay. So there's a shit ton of stuff right by the ladder. You gotta get rid of that guy. You're gonna try and aggro him without getting in crow attack range. And you're gonna lead him to this little, like, this, whatever it's called, this fallen tower. He's gonna get stuck there. He can't attack you here. When you're far enough away. You're gonna blue elixir, you're gonna wait for him to turn, which means he's de-aggroed. And then you're gonna abuse the turning animation so that he doesn't attack you. The crows should be far enough away that you can climb up this ladder safely. Decently annoying section to do. Not very hard, but fucking annoying as shit. Sometimes, in some cases, that crow can control you. That crow can fuck with you, man. Okay, so you go here, you're gonna hide here, you're gonna wait for this mofo with the gun to pass. And that other mofo with the axe to pass. And we're on Ludwig, okay? Ludwig is difficult. Also, it's important to note that there's a witch that will chase you right into the Ludwig fight, so you gotta be quick. Ludwig I use the speedrunner method. I believe Squilla used a different method, but I'll explain it as I go. Basically, you're going to buff up. You're going to dodge underneath his first attack, and you're going to R1, L1 his leg. R1, L1, then you're going to use 3 R1s on his arm. 2 for some reason, and then 2 or 3 in his head, depending on how many you got on his leg. And then you can finish him off with an R1, L1, R1. Very fast. Now, depending on RNG, So I got bad RNG. Okay. If he did the sword slam, he would have been dead by now. I prefer not to lock on in this fight. Makes it easier for me, and I dodge to the left. That is a very hard attack to dodge. Very hard attack to dodge. So I was playing it very safe. Anyway, you hit him with the Claw Mark Rune, etc., and your Beast Blood. You can Visceral him and kill him right there. Very consistent fight if you can get the first phase done. First phase is all you have to worry about. The second phase, you have to learn. However, if you get the proper RNG where he holds his sword and he slams it into the ground, you just attack him and he dies. I killed his head and I got the Holy Moonlight Greatsword or something. His weapon, Ludwig's, the Moonlight Greatsword, that one. And you sell that later for a lot of souls. Okay. So here, what I'm going to do is I aggro these guys. Yeah, I do. I aggro them so they start walking. I hide here and I pop a blue elixir. It is important to pop blue elixir here. You can't really run past these guys, you know? You can't really run past these guys. What's up, Teapot? Wait for this guy to turn around. Or I guess he doesn't turn around. He's just doing weird shit. Sprint past him. That guy shouldn't aggro. Run in a slight zigzag, like a slight angle, so the gunshot doesn't hit you. And then here, this is consistent. It's a little bit sketchy. This is Vicar Amelia, I believe. But you're going to sprint all the way past her. She will always magic for the first attack. And you'll always be able to just strafe around her. Pop the eye pendant in there. Let the elevator go down because we're going to use that later. Make sure you get that lamp. That lamp is important. And this section was a nightmare in like a casual playthrough. This section fucking sucks. These enemies are insane. These are some of the hardest enemies in the game. They're sporadic, they hit hard, and they're fast. So what we do is there's like 8 enemies up there, and they're all patrolling, and it's really hard to run past them. They have quick attacks as well. So we're going to lure them into a specific point of their patrol, and then we're going to run past them so that we don't have to run past too many at a time. Pop a blue elixir, and then they're not aggroed right now, so they won't quick attack. And those guys are over there, so you don't have to worry about them. But if you do that, that should be consistent. Run here, open this door, you got to dodge through those things. In certain cases, an enemy will follow you into this room. Do you guys still want music, by the way? Is the music distracting, or you guys like it? And he can hit you, but it happens very rarely. That guy, those guys are the scariest. They hit like a fucking truck. They have multiple hits, and they hit very, very quick. They also run really fast. So you pop a blue elixir for that guy. You don't want to mess with that guy at all. Here, you can actually run past these guys, shoot that guy at the top, and then keep running. But I personally don't like doing that. I've failed runs before because he shot me with his machine gun. So I prefer just to stand here, wait, get him to hopefully kill as many of these guys as possible. Or have them fall off as well, because sometimes they do. And then run past him with a blue elixir. See, like that. That one guy fell off, which was nice. He's only killed... He hasn't killed any of them. He sucked today. Yeah, so they're going to start coming down now. Kind of. One turned back around. I don't know why. This guy is so bad at hitting these things, but he's so good at hitting me. It doesn't make sense. They're not even doing anything. They're like walking. It's ridiculous, man. Music is fine. I was dancing. Alright. Did I pop another blue elixir? So that guy fell. Okay. That guy's dead, so I'm going to run. I should have waited with the blue elixir, to be honest. I hope this elixir lasts. I need it to last, because this guy up here is scary. Very scary. You're going to be very, 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 like, run as far away from him as you can. If you run even, like, a little bit closer, he can hit you. You could potentially, like, take him down as well, but you need to go up that ladder. Okay. You can always fall off here, so be careful. If you're slow enough, you don't have to worry about that rat. Pop the lever, and then you're going to pop a Hunter's Mark. Okay. I believe I do Laurence first before Living Failures. I do. Yeah, his name's Screech Beast. So Living Failures, the route to Living Failures is easy, right? We've got that set up. We've got the shortcut now. We've unlocked it. We're gonna do Laurence. So this next section, I pulled that elevator out up for a reason. The way you do this, or sorry, I pushed it down for the reason. The way you do this is difficult. Okay, remember, you have to land all of these rolls. So you wait until the elevator is rising and it's risen to a certain point. Then you fall off. You're going to roll towards Vicar Amelia and roll back away from her. Right? After that, you pick up this item. You need it for Laurence. And then you run back here and Hunter's Mark out. And if you don't, you're going to get hit. It's a very specific sequence. It's not that hard to pull off. But the worst part is if you fall and you get stunned in your fall. That's the worst fucking point, man. Oh, man. But with that, Laurence is set up, so we just gotta run to Laurence now. I think I level up. You don't really need to level up for Laurence because, well, you got a lot of stats already. It's not really a big deal at this point. I have like 50 skill and 36 strength or something. I think I finished the run with 50 skill and 40 strength, 41, 42 maybe if I'm lucky. Yeah, I do level up. So I sell the Holy Moonlight Sword for a shit ton of souls. 56,000 blood echoes. 56,000 blood echoes. I get 39 instead of 40 strength. I will get 40 strength after Maria, I believe, before Orphan. I get more blue elixirs. I spend my insight. You know, more cocktails and stuff. We'll use them in the last split. And so on and so forth. Okay, so Laurence. This fight we use the cheese method for this fight. We loop his attack in phase 1 over and over and over again until he's in phase 3. If you don't do that, if you fight him normally, as in either the speedrunner method or just a normal casual fight, it's actually very, very hard to pull off. Very hard to pull off. He is very difficult. And when you're this far in the run, you don't want to take risks. You're probably fatigued, you're tired, you know. You're nervous, there's pressure. You wanna do this, you know, as consistently as possible. Laurence himself, I did him blood level 4, is incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. He has double hitboxes because he has fire on his attacks and stuff, and the arena's small. He has quick attacks. He has very, very, very huge range. Has very big hitboxes as well. Not many openings for attacks either. My voice is going. My voice is going. But yeah. Basically, what we do is we loop his attack. It's a very easy thing to do. All you do is you run in. You run past him as he does his first attack to the corner, and then you run past him again as he does his second attack, and then you run past him again, and he should always do the same attack. Always. No matter what. Oh, man. Oh, and in running past him, you hit him with an R1, L1. That's important. You have to do damage to him. You have to do damage to him. Staggering is actually not great because it causes him to heal his wound, which can cause, you know, some bullshit. But you have to stagger him. You'll notice his leg is like spurting blood. That's a good thing. That means that limb is broken, you know. But yeah, pretty straightforward for the first phase. So he has 3 phases total. His first phase is very slow paced. The attacks aren't too hard. They're still quick and hard, you know. But his second phase is ridiculous. He starts falling over and swiping randomly and sporadically. In his third phase, he loses half of his body, and you're fighting just his torso. third phase in itself is decently difficult. You have to iframe quite a few attacks, and the attack timings are very specific. Also, his hitboxes are fairly large, and the openings for punishment are small, except for a few attacks. But on most attacks, his opening for punishment are small. So learning the third phase in itself is difficult. And you'll notice he has shit tons of HP. Laurence, I believe, has, I think, the most HP in the game? I don't know. It's like 20. I don't know if it's 20,000. I think it's a lot, though. It's a ridiculous amount, man. It's a ridiculous amount. And also, it's important to note that Laurence and Cleric Beast Phase 1 have the same attacks. Except Cleric Beast does them slower. So that's another reason not to do Cleric Beast, is because the muscle memory is different for Cleric Beast and Laurence. So you're going to see the same attack at different rhythms, which will, you know, fuck you up. Okay, so far pretty easy, you know. I also do this fight not locked on. It's easier for me. That attack has a massive hitbox. And we're, I guess, getting lucky. You also don't want to hit his lava trail. So your positioning is very important in this fight. If you hit his lava trail, that's considered a hit. Wow, really good RNG for this. That's a decently scary attack to dodge. But you just got to get it done. He didn't do like the overhead slam or any like stomps or anything. So you didn't get to see too much of Laurence fight. But I assure you, it is difficult. Yeah, Laurence has 21k. Thank you, Luker. What's up, Luker? Thank you. Okay. Anyway, Laurence is done. Next is Sunflower Congress, as opposed to Mushroom Congress. For this fight, we use the speedrunner method. The only hard part about this fight is the first part, where you have to parry the guy. But I'll call it as I go. So you're waiting for a specific attack, and the way the Living Failures attack is really weird. You know, I don't know the exact parry windows for them. It's a little bit annoying. Oh, also from the Laurence fight, it's important you get the Beast Covenant thing, which transforms into you into a beast-looking mother. Gives you more beasthood as well, so it's you know, you might as well use it. Looks cool, I guess. You know, you look like a cool lion man, sexy lion man. Good stuff, you know. Okay, almost there. Okay. Tired. Living Failures, man. Basically how this fight works is you kill them. You kill one really quick, and then you kill the next ones as they spawn. Otherwise, Living Failures would be an insanely difficult fight, just because of the sporadic nature of it, magic flying everywhere, you know. But luckily, there is a speedrun method, and luckily it's really nice. It's a good method. It's a really good method. So yeah, right off the bat, we're going to try and parry the first guy. After we parry him, we're not going to visceral attack him. We're going to run in, or we're going to jump in, dodge, L1, L1, L1. And that will kill him, because he takes double damage on his knees after he's parried, and then the rest of the attacks will finish him off. There it is. Okay, there's the parry, dodge in, L1, L1, L1. Kill him. Won't have to worry about him. Don't bother with that guy. If you want to be, you know, a little bit risky, then go ahead. But he can attack you. As this guy is spawning, you're going to R1, L1, L1. Okay, you're going to keep doing that as they spawn. And you're going to dodge whatever magic comes your way. You have time as this guy gets up, so don't worry. When your Beast Blood meter is full, that's when you switch to R1, 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 R1. And the rest of the fight is easy peasy. The only thing you have to worry about is if that guy that's being passive right now, casts the spell with multiple magic missiles, you got a Hunter's Mark out and redo the fight. Oh, Maria. In my opinion, Maria is the hardest fight of the DLC for no hits. She is ridiculous, okay? The way Maria works is in her first phase. As soon as you do enough damage, you have a timer to where she will transition into her other form. And in that other form, she will very likely hit you. Very, very, very likely hit you. So you have to do enough damage in her first phase fast enough to push her into her second phase safely. Okay? Maria has very quick attacks, and she also has hyper armor attacks. So you want to space Maria, and then when you get to a certain distance, you want to dodge into her. And as long as you dodge to her right or left side, you should dodge the attack. And if you don't, that means it's a hyper armor attack. You can dodge again, and you'll be safe. Okay? But you want to land, I think, 4 attacks. 1, 2. And so what I do here is I try and get her not to teleport. So I try and get in close and get her to not teleport. And then from there, I'm in position to do a charge R2. Like that. Except I missed it because I was a little bit slow. And if you do that, you do a shit ton of damage, which is good. 2. Charge R2. I missed it again. Yeah, it's 4 attacks and a charged R2 with a visceral. There we go. I got it. Yeah. So this will push her into her second phase. In her second phase, that's when the fight starts to get really cool. Because she gets access to a bunch of different attacks, and like her attacks get more range. So you want to stay at a distance from her, but you don't want to get cornered behind a wall. So you want to rotate around in an oval shape. Whenever she does this, you go underneath her. You're waiting for a charged attack, either the one where she stabs or the one where she, like, you know, katana blades. Those are the attacks you're waiting for. If you position it well, you can parry this, but it's dangerous. If you position it well, you can get behind her, do a charge R2, and visceral attack her. But it's difficult to get the hang of. Oh, thank God she did that. That was a risky position. It is difficult to get the hang of. And you don't want to be too far away, because if you're too far away, you know, you won't get it. But if you're too close, you'll get hit. So this is a very particular fight in terms of positioning and movement and stuff. Very particular. Again, I'm unlocking, so I run faster in an arc. Hopefully she doesn't hit me there, because she was close. She's not giving me the charge attacks I want. My Beast Blood pellet and my other thing is running out. This is shitty music for this fight. There it is. Thank God she did that. So there, charge R2. I missed it. Get the fuck away, you know? That was very lucky. Very fucking lucky. Like, insanely lucky. Right there, I don't want to be behind her because it's too close to the wall. And she's not giving me any more charge attacks, but you basically have to do this. This is why this fight is RNG heavy, because she can choose not to do... There it is, okay. There we go, hit her ankle, visceral attack. This should push her into the third phase. Yeah, of course it will. And then, or I guess I can just kill her. Third phase is the exact same thing, except she's harder because she has more range and shit, and, you know. Easy, you know. We got a good fight there. We got one section left, and we got one fucking one fucking boss, and that's BloodBorne No Hit. You know? That's it. That's it, that's it. Okay. Whew. Last little bit. I don't know what I have to say about this. Orphan fight. You want to level, of course. You're on a run. 42 strength. It really doesn't make that much of a difference between 40 and 42. Spend my insight, etc. This next area is a little bit difficult. A little bit. It's fairly specific. If you're fighting these enemies head on, they are difficult enemies. The fucking big ass shark man, the shark dogs, you know, the bloodletter motherfucker. They're reasonably difficult. There's winter lanterns in here. This last area, the fishing hamlet, is a hard area. It's not easy by any means, but because of blue elixirs and cocktails, we are able to do this reasonably okay. Reasonably okay. Oh, okay. Something was on my nose apparently in the run. You guys can't see it. I can see myself and how I was, but here I'll show you. Look. That's why I have that phoenix thing there. That's me back then, man. Touching my nose. Getting ready to go. Are there some dog sharks? Yep. Yep. Tiny bit smaller. Lark, what's up, man? Anyway, okay, let's explain. Oh, shit. Huh. Let's explain this. Okay. So, you're going to use your blue elixir here at a very specific point. The reason for this is because you want it to wear off at a very specific time. So, you want to run up to this guy a little bit past him. You're going to use your blue elixir. A little tiny bit past him. Right around here. Yeah, right here. You're going to run past him. You're gonna run past all these guys. This is relatively safe. I've never been hit by a spear in the back, although I haven't done this section too much on no-hit runs. If I got the Orphan, this is, I think, the first time I got the Orphan on a no-hit run. So I did it. Like, I would practice him all the time, but it wasn't too hard. Run past this guy. You're going to kill this guy up here. You can run to him point blank and just swing at him because of blue elixirs. But you don't want to go too far because there's that shark dog up there. You're going to wait here for your blue elixir to wear off at a perfect time. Pop another one. Throw a cocktail for that shark dog as well as his friend over there. Throw another one for another shark dog that's in front of you. That one. And then sprint. The reason you throw cocktails for shark dogs is because they have an attack that other dogs don't have. They can, like, scream, and it will stagger everything around them well, it will stagger you if you're even close to them. And, like, in a very wide radius, you know? Okay. Make sure you have enough endurance to sprint past this guy so that you can get past him before he's done his animation. And then pop another blue elixir here. You want to check behind you to make sure he's not watching. Just so this guy doesn't confront you on the bridge, you can run past him with turning animations. You can kill this guy if you want. It's smart to do so because he can cast magic at you. And on the off chance it hits you, it can hit you. You also want to kill this guy here, okay? Again, he can cast magic at you, and you fall down the ladder, which means you're in the same position horizontally for a very long amount of time, which means he can hit you with magic as you're falling. So it's important to kill him. You run past all these chicks and shells, these weird things. And then to the right, I think 2 of these will follow you. Yeah, these will follow you down. You don't need to get the elevator. It's not really, yeah, you don't need it. You don't need to go back, and you're not planning on dying or getting hit. Fuck this up. But I get it anyway, and I unlock the shortcut. I don't know why. It's just habit, I think. I don't know. Maybe it calms my nerves or something. Who knows? Whew. Get this lamp as well. Just in case. Oh, and I think I go back. Yeah, I go back to level. So I'm going all out for this run. You know, I'm playing it completely safe. Very, 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 very safe. Might as well. Man, Chez's Whiz. Chez's Whiz just followed me. Not Cheese Whiz, but Chez's Whiz. I was wondering if that was cheese or not, but apparently not. Spend my insight. You might as well. Last boss of a no-hit run, you want to go all out. Pretty sure I'm not looking at chat at this point. I'm very quiet. Orphan is a hard fight, okay? Orphan is a very hard fight. I'll start explaining it before we get into it. Orphan has something called, I don't know if it's called this, but I'll call it this. It's aggressive AI, which means that whenever you are attacking him using an item or vulnerable in any way, he will prioritize attacking you. He will be aggressive, right? That's why he can be very dangerous, because he's very hard to punish. He has very big hitboxes in terms of how he attacks, and he has a variety of different attacks that come at different speeds at different times. He's also very difficult to parry. Okay, Orphan is a very hard boss, but because of his aggressive AI, we can actually take advantage of him. And I'll explain how it works in the fight. But basically, for the first phase of the fight, you're looking for 2 attacks, okay? You're looking for the attack where he spins his placenta around him. Yeah, let's see if I can hear this. You guys want to hear his sounds? You're looking for the attacks where he spins his placenta around him, and you're looking for the attacks where he will jump over you. Those are the safest attacks. In his phase 2, there are, I believe, 2 openings. I don't know if I have Orphan phase 2 in this, but there's a few things you can do. Yeah, okay. You can hear it? I hope so. Okay. So phase 1, we're gonna wait for the jump attacks. He didn't jump there. He usually jumps right off the bat. And you're going to dodge away from everything else. Is that loud enough? I hope that's loud enough. The only other thing I want to explain is before phase 2, there's a phase 2 transition. What you can do in the phase 2 transition is I think you have a few frames. You can get a triple backstab and a visceral attack, which will do shit tons of damage, which will kill him, but it's very hard to pull off. Very, very, very hard to pull off. I think I try it and I miss it. Phase 2 Orphan, you could always do that, but it's very tight on the timing. Okay. That's an attack that you want. You can dodge into that and get behind him and do it. Also to note about phase 2 is that he's incredibly dangerous. There are very few openings, and the openings you have are positional based, so you have to be at the position of the opening before the opening happens. I'm playing it safe here. I want to be careful. I want to be very careful. Yeah, I don't trust it. That attack is a little bit scary to dodge into, so I'm playing it very, very, very safe here. That's also one of the frustrating things about this fight is you get impatient. Also to note, when he throws his little like placenta ball at you, you have to dodge diagonally into it. You can't dodge to the left horizontally, and you can't dodge straight, otherwise you'll get hit. I think it's hard to iframe, so you have to dodge diagonally. And if you're too far away, it will guaranteed hit you, which is a tough, difficult thing. So the spacing in this fight is important. You can't be too close. You can't be too far. Okay, so he's on the cusp of his phase 2 transition. You saw I used an item there and he ran at me instantly. That's his aggressive AI. What we're going to try and do is take advantage of that. So we're going to try and push him into his phase 2 HP. And then we're going to spam items. That was scary. We're going to spam items, hoping that he'll attack us more and more. And if we do that, we can actually skip his phase 2 entirely. But it's a little bit luck based, you know. It's a little bit luck based. So yeah, I'm just being careful right now, making sure to dodge everything, not taking any unnecessary risks. We're on the last boss of the run. He's being kind of shitty, to be honest. It's not giving me the attacks that... Look, so yeah. When you use an item, he jumps. Waiting for the Beast Blood Pellet. Not gonna... Oh, did I use it there? I did. It's a little bit risky in case he fired a second projectile at me. Yeah, I thought about going in there, but I don't want to. I just don't want to risk it. My nerves are going. I'm nervous, you know? Oh, I missed. I used an item, but he jumped a lot sooner than I thought he would. I'm trying to bait it out. I'm doing things I don't usually do. Yeah, not gonna go in for that. Upset. God, man, he is being terrible. I'm gonna pop this, he's gonna jump, yeah. Wait until I actually need to use the item. Stupid. I want this for my second phase, right? For the second phase of Orphan. Pop it. There we go. But he's not giving me... There it is. Okay, that's it. Okay. Did I miss again? Holy shit. Oh, man. That was scary. It's important to unlock before you do the backstab. Otherwise... There we go. Your backstab will miss. Okay. So here, I'm going to try and spam items. No, he went to the phase 2 transition. I'm going to go for the backstab. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. He got the invulnerable frames too fast. So that was very sketchy. Now the phase 2 starts. This is very hard. Very hard. He has so much range. He has so many attacks. He has attacks like this. He's fast. He can jump really far. You know, everything is difficult about this fight. Like, look at that, man. It's quick, too. I think I just need one visceral attack, though, and I'm good. You're waiting for a specific attack here. I'm waiting for an attack where he jumps off to the side and goes over me. Or I'm waiting for an attack where he just spams his little shit slam. But you have to wait for it. There's no other openings. That's a hard attack to dodge as well. Since it happens in 2 jumps, and it's constant damage if you aren't positioned well, you know, you'll die. Scary. Okay, this is what I want. However, I didn't like my positioning there, so I decided to dodge away from it instead. I went too far out of the arena, so the music stopped, which is an audio glitch. Or I guess it repeated. There, that's what I want. You can go under him on that last one if you are close enough. If you are not close enough, he will not do that. That's the triple. Backstab into the visceral attack. You can do that. And he's dead.
Fuck yes! Fuck this game, man!
Yeah, fuck this game.
Fuck!
But yeah, that's Orphan. That is Orphan. That is the no-hit run. BloodBorne, all bosses, plus DLC. Only 2 people in the world have done it. Only 2 people in the world have done it. Myself and Squilla. Squilla was first. I was like 2 days after or something. Yeah, that was it. That was hard. Kill this shadow. And the run is officially over. You know? Officially over. A very, very difficult stream. Sorry, difficult run. Whew, man. So, I hope you enjoyed it, man. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I did. I have chat open again. Is Fem subscribe? I wonder where Fem went, man. Yeah, I have chat open now again, but I hope you enjoyed that. That's the BloodBorne commentary. That was exhausting to commentate. And that was like, how long was that? That was 3.5 hours. That was 3.5 hours. Yeah, so that was 3.5 hours of talking. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me now. I'll try and answer them. But in terms of everything, thank you everybody for watching. You know, all the front pagers who stuck around, thanks for watching. You know, thanks for clicking my stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Here, if you want to catch the stream again, I usually stream in the mornings. Follow the channel, etc. The Twitter, that's how you know when I go live. I tweet when I go live. And people who sub, thank you for subbing. I don't have you guys up anymore.